It's time for Intelligent Machines. Our guest this week, Harper Reed, longtime coder. He was CTO for the Obama campaign in 2012. He has started and sold companies to the biggest and the best. But now he's all into AI coding. We're getting an insight into how AI can help everyone write code next on Intelligent Machines.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Intelligent Machines, episode 816, recorded Wednesday, April 23rd, 2025. Flappy Jeff. It's time for Intelligent Machines, the show where we cover the latest in, intelligent machines, whether it's an AI in your computer or an IoT device that seems to be thinking, or a robot that's making your bed right now. Joining me, as always, for Intelligent Machines, the wonderful Paris Martineau. Hello, Paris.
Hello, Leo.
With her broken lava lamp, her latest find on the streets of New York.
Listen, sometimes you walk by a lava lamp sitting on a stoop and you're like, I must have this.
Did they put a sign that said free, or were they...
Oh, yeah, no, it's a free... It's a table that a neighbor has had out for years where they and I assume other people put free things. Usually it's largely junk, but today there was a lava lamp missing a top, and now it is mine.
And thanks to our wonderful audience, we have a top, which is a cowboy hat.
That's true. We'll see. Hold on.
It actually is really good looking. I think that's it.
It's inspired.
That's definitely it.
I mean, someone in the chat has told me that I should perhaps reconsider this whenever I get heating things, as it might get hot enough to melt, but I don't know.
There's an insight, though. Take the hat off, because look, it's like a little bottle cap on the top, like a soda bottle. That's hysterical.
This is how you,
Who knew?
Because you gotta
fill it up with
you gotta
goo,
fill it up with stuff. There's
with
goo
ooze
in here.
and liquid. Don't drink the liquid, though.
I mean, I could if I'm if I'm jonesing for a drink and there's nothing else, I could just crack it and take a big sip.
They say the hat will melt, so don't. Yeah, we're gonna have to take that.
You're
seriously.
saying my $3 cat-sized cowboy hat might not be made of quality material?
That there, and laughing away, is Jeff Jarvis. He is the professor emeritus of journalistic innovation at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. Now at Montclair State University in New Jersey, and also SUNY Stony Brook. Of course, the author of many books, including The Web We Weave, his latest, and the Gutenberg Parenthesis, now in paperback. We pivoted this show, in case you're just tuning in. We thought This Week in Google wasn't giving us enough good stuff to talk about. Let's talk about AI. And that's been a wonderful opportunity for us to interview some of the people who are working in AI in interesting ways. I want to introduce an old friend, Harper Reed. He's a technologist, entrepreneur, and hacker. Hello, Harper.
Hello. Happy to be back.
It's great to have you. I've known Harper for ages. I think we first met in Canada, actually, when I was doing a show up there.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. You may know the name. He was the CTO of the Obama campaign in 2012. He sold his e-commerce startup to PayPal. Well, was it Braintree first and then Braintree sold to PayPal, or?
We were after Braintree sold to PayPal. So we sold to PayPal and then lived inside of Braintree.
Which is a good place to live.
Was the mafia all gone by the time you got there?
Yes, thankfully.
This was years. This wasn't so long ago. The mafia was long gone. Yeah. Harper, what are you doing these days? It looks like a little code workshop you got going on up there.
Well, we recently founded a new company, raised a little bit of money, and we're building what I like to kind of describe as super clippy or mega clippy. The
AI based.
AI-based, we are building, agents that are personified and a little bit unhinged, and will do some work for you and help you out and live on your computer and maybe talk shit. We don't know yet.
It's interesting that a lot of people think that is a kind of bad use of AI.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. But I trust your judgment. I mean, I don't think you would waste your time on something that was a bad use of AI.
I don't know if we know what the right uses of AI are. Right. I just read a really great blog post. I just found this out of kind of nowhere from Hacker News, which is called the AI Horseless Carriages, which is just about how bad the Gmail AI is. And I think there's a real opportunity for people to, instead of taking AI and shoehorning it into a service that already exists or a product that already exists, is to think, what should this product look like with these new automations? And the author has this perfect quotation. Let me see if I can quickly find it, where he was like, it's a word, they were like, I don't know their gender, but it's a world where I don't have to spend time doing mundane work because the agents do it for me. Like this idea of like, why have the computers, like, I guess I totally messed up the quote. I just, no idea what it is. Anyway, read it, it's great.
I have it right here. We'll put a link in the show notes. It's Pete Koomen's, Koomen's blog, AI Horseless Carriages. We're in that early stage, aren't we? Where we don't know what it's going to be. You came to my attention because, of course, I follow you in many different places, but I saw your blog post about using AI to code. Now, you're not a vibe coder, are you?
I mean, I've been a vibe coder since I was about 5 years old, and I learned BASIC, man. I definitely am I'm the type of guy where I'm like, man, that was a stressful day at work. Let me pull up some Python to relax.
Yeah.
Like coding has been about vibe since I was a child. But I do think there is both a positive aspect to the kind of quote-unquote vibe coding that we talk about today and some negative aspects. But I do think that the concept really brings up some complicated points of view. One of them is just simply that maybe code quality doesn't matter as much as it used to, which is a very bizarre point of view for someone who has made their career as having good code quality.
That's kind of the import of AI entirely, is nothing needs to be perfect anymore.
Well, it's even more. I stumbled across this kind of nuance that I was acting upon, which was I would never have AI write a blog post, but I have no issue with AI writing my code. Mm-hmm. And I want to be very careful in my language that I'm putting out to the world, but I'm not careful in the code of the apps that I'm putting out in the world. And kind of what does that mean? And I think it's because with the code, I'm able to set up testing infrastructure, verification tools, et cetera, to test to make sure that it works and to make sure that it's quality. And I can scan it and do analysis. And there's all these tools that have been around for dozens of years, 20s of years, that will solve that problem. Whereas writing, all the AI writing seems to sound a little bit the same to me. Much like all the images seem to a little bit the same. Mm-hmm. And there's obviously people who are very good at prompting these things, so it sounds much better. But I've just found that when I read, if I'm like, I'm going to do a blog post about AI, and I'm going to use AI to write it, I'm like, this doesn't sound like me. First of all, it has capitals, and it's misspelled, or it's spelled correctly, and it uses real grammar.
Punctuation and things,
punctuation,
I know.
It's like, what is a period?
The M dash, oh my God.
Hey, don't come for the M dash.
I'm an M dash machine, man. I put M dashes like between every word.
We all agreed that that's a bad test of AI.
I use M dashes so often. I often have to rewrite sentences because I'm like, there's a 3 M dashes, like sentences right after each other. I gotta throw a parenthetical.
I gotta put a semicolon in there somewhere.
Yep.
So you write, in fact, in your most recent blog post at harper.blog, I find that I want my voice to be heard and not normalized, whereas my code needs to be normalized. In this context, what do you mean normalized?
Well, I think like if you're working with a giant team of engineers, the goal is to have a consistent quality output. Like that's just, you don't want someone who is really good and someone who's really bad. You want to like normalize that much, or like a compression algorithm, so to speak. You want to take
sometimes that 10% coder is not the ideal person on your team because he's so far ahead of everybody else. Nobody understands what the code's doing, and he can document it, but that doesn't mean that it's a different level. Yeah, that makes sense.
I think it's such an interesting problem because we all think about that. We want to find the 10x person, or we want to find the person that's going to focus on this 100%. And what I've noticed is oftentimes they're just not great to work with. but there's a thing is, I remember very specifically on the Obama campaign, there were a few things we had to do that required that person. And so I think those people end up being much more mercenary than they actually want to be. because they're just such a individual worker that they're not working with a team. With that said, working with a team that's really running, everyone will make everyone go faster, but only if you can achieve that consistency. Whereas writing for me is very much about my individual expression. Like, I would rather tweet stupid shit than have an AI tweet something that's very consistent. Like, I don't think the consistency in my personal expression is really what I'm looking for, other than I want to wear black every day. Right? But that's simple, and I don't have the AI doing that.
It makes sense, because when you're coding, what you're doing is you're kind of translating human requests into something the machine will understand. Well, what better to do that than a machine? Right? I mean, I can understand that machines should be able to code. It's their language.
I think that's true, but I actually think it's much more confusing, because I think that's actually how it used to be, is we used to tell the machine in its language how to do it, which is like a Python to, like
assembly language or something.
Yeah, eventually, or whatever. Or like you take, you write Rust or Go and it compiles to a binary, whatever, all that stuff. What's happening now is we have this layer in between it that is the language model, which is like taking English. That's weird. Like, it's weird. Like, we were doing this thing earlier on, and one of the people I work with was yelling at the computer, no, don't go to Twitter. Like we're yelling. We're like, what are you doing? Computer, come on. Like, I'm walking here. Like, it's like this funny thing of like, why is it doing this? And you really are like, why would you do that? Like, we talk all the time about like, I tried to get it to do this and it wouldn't do it. It's like we're talking about a teenager, but it is like that, because if you think about, you look at the good prompting guides, they have this funny thing. It's like talking to a 12-year-old about taking responsibility for homework or solving a problem. You're like, well, let's make a plan. Like, think step by step, take a deep breath, like all these things when you add them to the prompt, make the prompts better. And it really cracks me up that we're at that point in computing. And I would never have predicted this. In all my years as like a Java programmer and like a CTO and all that shit, I would never have predicted that I would be coercing
the machine into cooperating.
It's like a really angry, unfed 12-year-old who's just like, I don't want to do my homework. And you're like, okay, bro.
Okay.
So what would you advise 12-year-old Harper, given the current reality?
Probably move out of the U.S.
Well, there's that.
Not the current reality.
Maybe learn how to shoot a gun. I don't know. We'll see.
We're talking about the coding reality.
The AI reality.
I think that's actually a really complicated problem, because what I'm seeing is a lot of folks who are in engineering management. Like, so people who are like me in my 40s, had a career programming, and the people we're potentially hiring are cutting their teeth on this stuff. This is where they're learning. Mm-hmm. And those two things is, I wouldn't say it's so far as a Kuhnian paradigm shift, but it's close to that kind of idea, where we're using language that is not compatible and not collaborative with one another. So when I say, just go ahead and code that up, first thing they might do is go to ChatGPT, go to Claude, start interacting with it, start doing some planning. Whereas if you told someone who had been programming for 30 years, 20 years, 10 years, or whatever, that's not the first thing they do. Mm-mm. I'm not mad about that. I think it's really hard. But for those of us who were around in the early 2000s and the late 90s, I think this is going to start to sound very comfortable and horrifying, which is, I think we're back to waterfall. I think
waterfall is what Agile replaced.
Yeah.
How would you describe it? You start and you start at the beginning and you get to the end, and you kind of, it's a waterfall of code.
Well, it's a funny thing, right? Because I remember very clearly, I got a job in 2001 as a Java programmer. I worked with this great team that was at Tata Infotech at the time. We'd taken the project from IBM Global Services. These are all dinosaurs from the past, right? And I had this team. I was the only engineer in the U.S. I had a team of like 4 or 5 people around Chicago. We were all in our 20s. We all went to bars and all that stuff and had a lot of fun, and it was great. But when we weren't doing that, we were coding this app. And so we had a guy named Vinay who had built the spec, and he was the spec guy. He knew everything about the product. He talked to all the business owners. He talked to all the stakeholders, meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting to get the spec. And then after like 6 months, he would be like, the spec's done. And it was like this big deal.
Yeah.
Like, we did it. Everyone, let's have a party. The spec's done. And so you'd have the spec, and it'd be like thousands of pages, not really, probably hundreds of pages. And we would all look through it and we'd make comments and like, the spec's done. So then he'd pass it like over this kind of firewall to the engineers, where we just had to do what was said in the spec. There was no like choice. It was like, oh, this is what you have to do. You have to achieve this thing. And then once you were done, 8 months later, you'd be like, we're done. We finished the product.
Forever.
It's
It's done forever.
Yeah.
Then we bring it back to the stakeholders, and they'd be like, this isn't what we wanted at all.
It's a game of telephone.
It's a game of telephone. And so, but that process, and this is the thing that I'm really reflecting on right now, is to do well with LLM code gen and to really work well in this space, you have to think about what the spec is for such a long time and so carefully and so strategically. You spend a lot of time working on requirements, trying to define what are you trying to build. Unlike in 2001, it takes 15 minutes. Right? Like, it's not like this is a long time. And then you pop it over to Claude, or I use Claude Code, for instance, Claude Code. You just dump it in there. You're like, yo, Claude Code, get this done for me. And it's just like, blah, 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 does its little magic and says some weird puns. And then it's like, I'm done. And you're like, then you check it and you're like, you have the same result. That's not what I wanted at all. And then you just go back and do it. And so it's the same process in many ways. I wish I was still working with Vinay. It was really fun to work with Vinay. He would be great at this. But it was like this thing of like defining that spec, moving forward, building and building and building, and then going back and make sure it matches the spec and so on and so forth.
It's iterative, but the iterations are much faster now.
And
is that
with
right?
I think so. And I think if you're very successful, most of the people I've talked to that are doing well with this seem to be adding a lot more context, a lot more writing,
to their
lot
prompt.
more just to everything. So you'll have a doc in your product that might just be like features for today, and you just go through and define all of these features for today in like very great detail, and then the LLM will go through, and because it has so much context, it can actually successfully do that. I think one of the missteps with people who are just starting out is they don't add enough context. And so like I remember when I started out, it was just like code. You're just shouting at the computer. You're like, I can shout at the computer. This is great. You're just like, code, make the feature go. And then it's just like, okay, and it just does something. And you're like, this is terrible. And it's because you didn't give it enough information. But once you just slam it full of information, it does a pretty good job.
Or once you see the internet, so I was there at the start of Epicurious for Condé Nast. Many years ago, and I watched this cultural conflict. The engineers, we hired an engineering company, and they said, okay, give us a spec for every single page you're ever going to have. And the editors said, no, just start making pages. We'll know when we see it.
Yeah.
And now you can, and each was right and wrong in its own way, but now you can do that. You can know it when you see it.
I do a lot of that with V0. From Vercel, which is a really fun product where I just go to it and I'll just like type. This will be like if I'm, you're on that call where you're kind of zoning out, you're just kind of paying attention. You're just it's just a checkbox. Your presence. You're not participating. There, I'll just be like, fuck it. Let's make a video game that's like R-Type from the '90s Neo Geo, but I want it to be frogs fighting pizzas, and it's just some like asinine prompt, and then I just sit there and I wait like 3 minutes, and I'm like, oh, look at that, there's that game I wanted. I always wanted the fight a pizza or whatever, and like I just do this over and over
but
again.
But this kind of trivial, right? I mean, by the way, here's V0. What can I help you ship? And then you write in the prompt, and they have some examples of what people have done. But Harper, one of the criticisms of this is, well, it can do that because it's writing, like Flappy Bird's been written 1,000 times. It's seen all that code. So it's writing something it already, has in the LLM. It knows. So can it do original things?
Well, or is I'll quote a movie, Life of Brian. We are all individuals. I actually don't think there's that much unique stuff out there. Like if you're thinking about what are we going to solve, like let's build social software. There's so much social software built, successful and otherwise, documented and otherwise, that I think it's going to do a pretty good job at a lot of that stuff.
Right. That
doesn't mean that a team of very experienced people with a lot of engineering experience aren't going to do better than a team of just neophytes who've never done anything. But there's still a lot of luck. You could build most of the things that my career has been defined by, I think you could build with one or two people in like a couple days.
Using AI.
Using AI. That doesn't mean it has the customers. It doesn't mean it has the growth. It doesn't mean it has the vibe or the experience or the like feel of it. You still have to be good. One of my friends, an investor who's backed us a couple times, James Cham from Bloomberg Beta, said early on, like, this is a time of curation. This is a time of having, like, just because you can build an Instagram clone doesn't mean that you're going to build the next Instagram.
Right.
Just because you can build something doesn't mean it's going to be cool, feel good, people are going to love it, etc. You still have to be good at that, which means just because you can prompt it and say, I want to make a video game that is a combination of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and some Chicago pizza company, like that doesn't mean that anyone is going to play it or care or what have you. But this is very similar to what it was like before, and I think it's okay.
Okay. Yeah, I mean it's good for an MVP, a minimal viable product. But you still have. But I've always said this with anything the AI does. Human input is critical to making it useful.
I also think that we could take some AI. We could go to Descript or whatever, pop it into Descript, and we could replace AI with human engineers, and the same conversation applies.
It would be the same thing.
It's the same thing, which is like humans.
So is the AI the equivalent of a junior engineer then? What is the AI?
I just treat it like a collaborator. I don't know how to say that word. I was trying to say that word the other day, and I literally
a collaborator.
A collaborator. That's how you say it.
Yeah.
Thank you. I've wondered how to say that for years.
That's by the way what I do is tell people how to say things. That's my entire. Good. That's my whole thing. That's the gig.
I used to think it was like an intern, where you'd have this intern from some very fancy school and you'd bring them on and they knew everything. They were obnoxious. They knew everything, but they literally knew nothing. You know what I mean? We've all worked with those people where you can ask them any fact and they're going to tell you with authority what it is. But then if you ask them, how much does a banana cost? Is the question.
No idea.
They're going to be like, I don't know. What do you mean?
What's a banana?
You buy a banana? So like these type of things. Yeah, money.
They're savants in a way. They're idiot savants, kind of. These AIs.
Well, yes, but one thing that I learned from Ethan Mollick, who I highly recommend reading, was oftentimes, and I'm paraphrasing here, I don't think he actually said this, but oftentimes when you find yourself stuck or the AI isn't doing this well, whatever it might be, that's a prompt problem. That's not a capabilities problem. And so I don't know if that's true. I don't actually care if it's true, but I practice that, where if I'm talking to Claude or ChatGPT and it's not giving me the example or the results I want, then I'll be like, okay, this is a me issue. I'll iterate much like I would on code or what have you to try and get to the right end. And usually two things will happen. One, I'll get there, or I'll just get distracted and start generating images of my friends doing asinine things.
Which is basically time wasted, or maybe not. Maybe that's a good thing.
Leo, I think that life is too short to be worried about that. I mean, it's fun, and I laugh, and I'm gonna walk outside and he get hit by a meteorite or something, and I'm gonna be very happy that I generated a pancake logo for my friend Clint.
One of the things Ethan Mollick's doing that's interesting, Jeff, you're probably familiar with it, is Wharton Interactive. He teaches at Wharton, and the idea of using games and AI as a kind of a useful tool in education, I think, is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Well, I kind of want some best practices from you then, if we can, Harper, because you've written two really good pieces on how you use AI as a kind of partner coding. Yeah, is that a fair way to talk about it?
Yeah. I think this is a really good and important topic, because what I'm finding is a lot of folks are just trying to figure out how to effectively start, and
well, you say step one, get out of bed with wonder and optimism.
Yeah, which I think is bullshit. I don't think anyone actually does that. Let's be real. It's hard out here. It's hard out here for us AI programmers. I even say that. I even say who am I kidding? But I think the first thing is this is the reason I put that in there is because the first thing is, if you're starting out with the assumption that it's not going to work, it's not going to work.
That's a good point.
Like if you just start out and say this is a bunch of shit and it only generates shit and it's all terrible, et cetera, which I hear all the time from friends, then you're never going to have any success. Like that's just, you're starting out from a point it's not about good intentions or not. I don't really care. It's mostly just about you have to assume that something good will happen for a good thing to happen. And otherwise you're just going to be, because you have to prompt it like it's going to work. So
the AI knows whether you believe in it or not. You gotta believe.
That's the vibe. That's the vibe, Leo.
That's
what
the
we're
vibe
talking about
part.
with the vibe. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also it starts to get religious at some point, and then we've all moved to San Francisco and talk about AGI. But I think the key that I have found is that I think there is a continuum, and on one side it starts with like code gen, or sorry, like autocomplete, and IntelliSense has been around for forever.
Yeah.
You have all these really cool
Coders are used to that notion.
Yeah, and that's
right?
a normal thing. And so you start there, and then you just get asking more and more, and then you start pasting code in and out of ChatGPT and Claude. And I think it's actually important to follow these steps, because I think what happens if you go to the end, you don't have the nuance and the practice to prompt it appropriately, and so you end up making mistakes that are just incredibly frustrating. And then your response will be, "This doesn't work. It's all bullshit."
So the first step is really dialoguing with the AI to understand better what it can do, what it needs to do what you want it to do. There's a certain amount of training that's involved of you as much as the AI, yeah?
Yeah, and one of the things I think is really hard about this is it's just fucking weird. Excuse me.
It is weird. It's alien.
Super weird. And
It's
it doesn't
alien.
make any sense. And
Yeah.
you're also like, I am a very good programmer of Python. Why am I literally yelling at a computer? Why am I talking to a computer, and why is this happening?
You have to get over that, don't you? You really do. I've noticed that too.
Yeah.
You have to get over that embarrassment of, I'm talking to a computer.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have taken Waymos, but like I have this problem with Waymos, which is very similar, which I'm done with the ride and I get out and I'm like, thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
Do I tip? What do I?
Yeah, so it's this thing of like our whole lives have been spent to find this way to like coerce the network around us of people, and now we're trying to find the delta between how to do that with a robot and not, and I think it's very, very difficult. But where the vibes coding kind of comes in is as you start upgrading down this path, and you start doing more automation of your code base, there's a certain point where you're just kind of letting go and just kind of seeing what happens. And I think that is very uncomfortable for a very specific type of person who likes control.
But you're not going to ship this code.
Why not?
Oh, you are?
Yeah, every day I'm shipping this code. Well, the thing, I was talking to a
Now
friend
I'm
of mine.
scared.
Who's a very talented programmer, and he was like, "Yeah, but it's not production quality." And I'm like, "What is production quality?"
Right.
My entire life, I've programmed computers. A lot of code has gotten to production. There was a certain point where I kind of graduated, and I wasn't allowed to put code into production. But there is a thing of like, what does it look like? Every time I've entered a company and looked at the code, the first reaction is you're just like, "Oh God, this is horrible!" Like no one has looked at production code and been like, "This is perfect. This is wonderful." There's always this visceral reaction of there's a lot of bubblegum and a lot of baling wire. And so like I don't think that human production code is much different than AI production code, except we can promise that AI production code is going to be normalized so much. Now the best practice may not be your best practice, but it will be a best practice.
So let me ask you a question there, because I'm not a programmer, but I've worked with many. And whenever you try to say, you get somebody new in, and you say, "Oh, this was already done, but can you revise it?" They want to just throw it all out and redo it completely.
Yeah.
Right? Law of nature. How is AI at revising code that somebody else did?
It's actually really funny. There's two answers to that. One, we don't know. And that's the like just adding and editing to like big code bases. We just don't know yet. Like we don't know. Most of the people who are doing code gen stuff right now are doing greenfield work on greenfield things, and they're having a lot of success on that. But the question I get most from my friends who are in engineering management positions is, I have a code base with hundreds of thousands of lines of code, if not millions of lines of code. I need to add this feature or fix this feature. How is it going to do with that? And some people are doing it. There just isn't a lot of people testing it. I'm on my way to try and generate a lot of code, so I'll let you know in a couple years or whatever, but we're not there yet. But the second one is, in some cases, it's easier to just have the AI redo the whole thing.
It's so fast.
Well, just like coders have always said too.
So
but it's faster than coders.
Here's an example that blew my mind. I was talking to this good friend of mine who has this wonderful company, and he was showing me this code base he had, and he had 250 pull requests. And I was like, "This is a mess. Why do you have so many pull requests?" And he was just like, "Oh, it's cool." So he showed me each pull request an AI had done. If the tests passed, he would examine it and just take a look, a high-level look, and probably merge it. If the test failed, he closed the pull request without even taking a look at it.
It's cheap.
Was cheap. It's cheap from a time perspective.
Throw it away.
And from a cost. He's like, we'll just redo it. Why wouldn't
Just
we
throw
just
it away.
redo the whole thing? And so Jeff, to answer your question, there's a chance that this is why I said like code quality may not matter. There's a chance that the fact that we worshipped this code, we were like, it's done. Remember back in CD time, Goldmaster, we did it. Let's ship it. Like that
Shrink wrap.
Shrink wrap. Like we don't need that anymore. If we build an iOS app and it sucks, we just build another one tomorrow. And if that sucked, we build another one tomorrow. And then that sucked,
it really is a new way
tomorrow.
it's a totally new way of thinking about this stuff.
It's very strange.
So, okay, so we've gone through. I've used IntelliSense. Now I'm using Copilot. It's basically kind of auto completion on steroids.
Super IntelliSense.
And then I'm pasting code into Claude or ChatGPT and
you're still using your brain here. Like, so here you're still kind of thinking through your brain, trying to figure out what's going on. You're doing the planning yourself. And what you're finding is you're like, this is really awesome, but I wish I could do more. And you look over at your friend, and your friend's like playing video games while his computer's coding for them. And they're just like, wow, how did you do that? And so then you start to think about like Aider or Klein or OpenAI just released Codex or whatever these things are, which is these terminal applications that you can run, hook them to an LLM, and they just kind of do stuff in the background. And it's fun to have them do stuff in the background because you really can just do other things.
What are they doing? They're writing, like, are you giving them tasks and they're doing that in the background?
Yeah, so I'll just tell you my workflow, just because at this point, if you're in the agentic workflow part, this is like where I've been playing along with it. My team has been doing the same workflow. So kind of what you do is you go to like a ChatGPT or some place where your favorite LLM. I use ChatGPT for this because I really like their O1 Pro model, which is their expensive model. It's very nice.
Point out in your blog post though that's kind of a personal thing. You might
you just
like one better than the other.
You might like Llama that run locally, like whatever. It doesn't really matter because this process, what you're doing is building context. So I'll go there. I did that earlier today. I got into the office around 8:45, 9 o'clock. I spent 8:45 to about 9:15 talking to the LLM, being like, hey, I want to build this thing. Here's my idea. And this is my favorite prompt. And I do this for all my prompts now. I say, ask me one question at a time. I prefer yes or no questions.
Oh, gosh. That's great.
Oh, look at that. And so what it will do is, I love that. This is my favorite. Everyone hates this thing, but I think it's the best in the world. I think it's so good. I will never turn it off.
That's AI, by the
way. What I'll do is the yes or no question thing is really great because it allows you to dive deep into these things without an overwhelming experience with the LLM. So it'll just be like, hey, do you want people to log in with Google? Yes. They'll be like, oh, do you want people to log in with an email? Yes. So it goes through, and as you're doing this, it's just building up more context about what you want to build. Then once you feel like you have enough context injected into the machine, then you say, write a spec for me. And that's when I'll switch it to O1 Pro, and it will generate this very well thought out spec that then I can tweak and edit and make whatever I want into it. And then I'll say to that spec, I'll say, hey, can you go ahead and turn this into prompts? Once again, I'm still within the O1 Pro context. We turn this into prompts that I can pass to a code gen. So then I'll save the spec and then this new prompt plan, so to speak, into a directory. And then I will go to Claude Code in a terminal, and I will say, Claude, look at the spec. Here's the plan. Just do it. And then I'll go and leave. And then I'll come back and it'll be done. And that's largely, there's a little bit of poking and prodding and it's asking questions. But that's largely what I do. And with this, I think you can ship kind of anything. I think the limit is your patience for dealing with a bunch of nonsense that this thing is going to pop up. But having worked with software teams for most of my life, it's the same nonsense. People are more fun. This is boring. But that's why you just surround yourself with people doing the same work. So you still get the fun, but then you don't have to talk about code.
All right, I'm going to be the old timer, the gruff old timer who thinks this is all hogwash and ask you a few questions. How do I debug something that some machine wrote that I don't even maybe understand how it works?
Someone told me a way to do this that I really, really like, which is you do what they call checkpointing. And so this is like in a video game where you have a save point, right? You're going through the video game, you pass that little flag, and now it's saved. And if you mess up your game, you just go back to that point. So that's kind of what you do. So you just don't debug. You just redo it until it works. It's this funny thing, kind of back to the code is really cheap. Now, this is where
use tests to do this?
Oh man, so many tests. I've had more tests in the last year than I've had my entire life.
Does the AI write the tests or do you?
I write the tests, but I'll do a lot of passes where I'll take the entire code base, jam it into Claude or ChatGPT or whatever, and I'll say, where are my missing tests?
Oh, I love that.
And then I'll have it build those tests, and I'll do
Is it pretty
again.
reliable when you do that?
Yeah, of course it's missing. Tests are horrible because there's always going to be one that you didn't think.
Humans are very bad at tests.
Terrible. Humans are very bad at tests. The machines are very good at it. And so I have a couple projects that we've been working on that are Rust that have like 100% test coverage. Every line of code is tested. Now, some of this is really stupid because you're like, why do I need to test this line of code?
But it's cheap.
It's cheap. I mean, now it's not the time of running the test isn't cheap. That's forever.
Right.
But it is cheap to get there. And then once you get there, you're like, oh, great, I have all this tests. Yeah, it's great. And so then you save it, and you basically save it, and then you have it go do stuff. And if it messes up, you're like, try again, clear the context, reset back to the test to checkpoint, and do it again. Once the agent started running the tests, that's really when everything changed.
Wow. Now you're using Ada. You like to do this on the command line as opposed to in VS Code or something. I mean,
I've always been a terminal person.
Yeah.
I mean, I started running Linux in '93. Back when you still had telephones, and I think that there's a thing about that I will always be most comfortable in that space. But I have many friends who've used Windsurf and Cursor and all these other things that really like that vibe. That's just not my happy space, and Like when someone was like, this is vibe coding, I was just like, I'm in, man. Let's burn some incense. let's dress comfortably. Like use what tools are comfortable for you. I am not worried about what I used to be worried about. It used to be like, let's make sure the whole team is using a consistent tool set. Let's make sure everyone is programming in the same language, so on and so forth. But if we hired someone to do a project and they're like, we're going to do it in PHP or Haskell or whatever, and we thought we could host it and we could do it well, then I'm not worried about that because honestly, they're just being Vinay, making sure the spec works, making sure that everything is tight, making sure the requirements document is up to speed, and then the computer's doing the code. So I think this is it's very bizarre. I'm very uncomfortable with this, to be very clear, and I'm not quite sure where it falls out. But I would say right now, 80% of our code is being generated by AI.
Who's us? Who?
I have a small company called 2389, which is 2389.ai, and we're building some very strange things, and it's all AI generated.
I love it. So there's a famous comment in some old code that says, "You are not expected to understand this."
Yes. That's how I feel every day.
Yeah. Don't change it. I understand it. I wrote it, but you're not expected to understand it. Don't change it. It's a very famous comment. But that bothers people when, at least it used to, I don't understand this code. Do you always understand what the AI code is doing?
No, I never understand. I barely understand it right now. Like here's what happens, and it's very funny. So I said this before, and someone got kind of mad at me. I don't think that humans' context window is as big as some of these AIs.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I just don't have.
I think that's exactly right.
I just don't have as much space in my head as I thought I had. Like I used to think I could hold the entire idea of it, and I can think of the spec and all that stuff. But when you start looking at all this code, there's a point where I'm like, and I can feel it. I'm like, I've lost control. Like I was going, I was totally under control, and then I lost control, and I'll just be like, well, there it goes. I no longer am able to understand it. But there's another thing that I always remember, which is I can just ask. I can just be like, hey, Claude, what's going on? What's happening? Why is this? What does this file do? What does this part do? Because unlike that comment of the past, the person that wrote that probably was not very fun to work with.
No.
Probably was kind of a curmudgeon.
Kind of snotty. Yeah.
Snotty, didn't trust you, wouldn't want to work with you, probably thought you weren't good enough. AI doesn't care. It'll be like, oh, that's a great question, Harper. I was waiting for you to ask that. Here's what what that does.
I have found AI to be very good at explaining code, actually. You're right.
Yeah. So I'm not worried about that. What I am worried about, though, is getting to the point where you are supporting a product that you truly have no idea how it works.
That's a little scary.
I think what's going to happen is much like when Agile came out, much like when when mobile came out, you start to get new tooling. And so what we haven't seen yet is what does the tooling look like? I mean, we're starting to see some of the dev tools, et cetera, but I mean, like, what is the tooling that is going to support the engineers, the engineering teams, the founders, etc. And I think for an example, a good example would be formal verification. So if you're using like a Rust or some of these compiled languages, you can formally verify that it does what it does. And I think that's something that people are going to start relying on so that they can prove that the code that the AI wrote, even though it hasn't had human eyes on it, kind of does what it says it does. Now, I know that as saying this, this is a little sacrilegious. I don't know how to say that word either. But this is, I guess, this is bad. Like most of my engineering manager friends are going to die. Like they're all going to say, Harper, what are you doing? You're no longer allowed to come to the party. And I don't know what to say. Like I think this is the future, and I think it's unfortunate that this is where we're at, because it's just I don't think we're going back, and I think that's scary.
I thought maybe I had decoded the name of 2389 Research.
Yeah, you'd never guess what it is. It's really
well. I thought I had because
one thought is that you said 30% of your company is now AI. That's 716 of 20.
Well, it's actually really boring. It's just our birthday months ascending. Well, when you start a company,
Wait, what did you think it was, Leo?
Well, the line number of the code comment, you are not expected to understand this, is something like 2389.
If that's it, I'll just change it. What we were telling people is our favorite parts of pie.
Oh, that's good too. And then now you just have to figure out where that is. Yeah.
Well, it's a really good part. It's right around.
It's the middle of pie.
It's
halfway to the end.
Halfway to the end. Yeah, exactly.
The blog posts at harper.blog, there's a new one. The original one, this is the new one, LLM CodeGen's Hero's Journey. The one I read that actually prompted me to call you was my LLM CodeGen workflow at the moment. And it's really good. And it really is a great place to start if you're thinking about playing around in this. And I think the fact that you've done this so much now, Harper, is actually encouraging. Because you're a smart guy, and you're not, I don't think you would be advocating this if there were serious issues with it.
Oh, I think I would.
You would? Okay.
Well, I mean,
never mind.
He
wants to clarify that he's.
I'm sorry I trusted
narrator.
you. Forget it.
No. I think the problem here is that we really don't know how this is going to end.
That's true.
And what I mean by that is I mean this very specific thing that. I'm sure, like y'all, I have a lot of friends who've been laid off from tech jobs over the last two years.
Yeah.
A lot recently, and I don't think they're getting jobs again. I think this is very similar to 2003 to 2003 with print designers, and probably very similar to accountants. But I wouldn't know about that. That's more, back in the early 1800s for Jeff Jarvis. But the thing is that I think there's 1500s. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, we need to be accurate. But I think there is a reality here that. As much as we are benefiting from this, there is a downside, which is, I'm personally not hiring as many people.
Yeah.
Like I have a team of people I've worked with for the last 20 years that I really like working with, and we just don't need as many people anymore. And there's some really scary aspects.
So I've got a question for you. Go ahead. You go ahead, Paris.
I assume it's going to be the same question. What are you going to do when you're the person whose job is eliminated? If this,
I'm going to be so happy. Are you serious? I've been trying to force myself out of a job for years. That's my dream. I just want to go and lay in a park and read books. Like that's really what I want to do.
So do you believe in UBI? Is that?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. And all those people
That's
who are like, but what will humans do? It's like, bro, what do you mean? Have you been anywhere on a weekend?
Do.
Like, it's great. Like, it's wonderful.
Nobody likes their job.
Yeah. Someone recently said, I spend a lot of my time without working. I'm very lucky in that regard. And someone said, when are you planning to re-enter the workforce? And I was like, what are you talking about? I would never plan that. But I do think that there are some really scary aspects to this. And I do think we are underestimating the impacts of how this will work. And I think we're seeing a lot of founders like myself, big company CEOs, et cetera, who I was just talking to someone who is like, I want to know how to use this in my company. and I want you to work with my tech team to like help the tech team use this more. And I was like, yeah, but we're kind of having them dig their own grave. Like, it's kind of messed up. And so like we are not prepared for that. And so I've been thinking a lot about like, what does that mean and how does that work? At the same time, still gotta eat. So I'm over here trying to, hustling in the token mines, trying to build some cool company.
This is an age-old problem, though, as productivity improves.
Yeah.
People
but
lose
also,
jobs. I mean,
I noticed something when I've been thinking about this a lot because of the waterfall stuff. When I got my first job in 2001, it was like a huge room full of these little, what are the cubicles? Just as far as I can see, with like tech people. Yeah, engineers, designers,
little skinny black ties and pocket
right, exactly. I had to dress up every day. Yeah, exactly. And then that shrunk. By 2005, I was on a team of like 20 people, and then by 2007, it was 10, so on and so forth. So it's not like this started with AI.
No, this is what computers do in general, right?
I think AI democratize it. Yeah. So I'm going to ask. I have a different question.
Not that it's a wonderful thing for the people who lose their jobs, but it's kind of Well, it's like I don't know how you avoid it.
I teach or try to, and helping start a new program in technology, AI, and society, and wondering what young people should do. Advise either a university or its students who are interested in technology, who love it, and want to do things with it. What should they be doing?
I think just experimenting at this moment. There's something that I noticed, which is my brother actually. Dylan, I think he's Dylan, not Dylan, I don't remember. So he's a microblog as well. But he texted me one day and was just like, hey, I wrote a video game. And I was like, what do you mean you wrote a video game? You're not a programmer.
Last night.
Yeah, exactly. And he's just like, no, I just wrote a video game. And I was like, oh, that's new and unique information. And that is, I think, where we're at, where someone told me yesterday, this is the age of the idea guy. Yeah. All of those people who are like, I have an idea and I need a tech person. This is they're gonna live. They're gonna eat now. But I think the people out there, there's some cool parts about this as well, which is the people out there who have the patience to dig in and experience it. You actually see one right there. That's a Ment, my friend Ment, who comes in and he hacks on this product that he has that he did not have 6 months ago. He's not a programmer. He's learning how to program. He's using Replit Agent. He's using V0. He's using all these things to build this stuff. He has he's doing it, and the point is that he's spending the time to do it. And so if I was going to talk to students today, I think I would just suggest just try it out. Try it on, see how it feels. If it doesn't work, try it again. Read the Ethan Mollick book. I think his book is really good at kind of summarizing how to think about this. If you start out saying it's not going to work, it's of course not going to work. Mm-hmm. But if you try it, like build something weird, build a mobile app, build an iOS app. You've never heard that iOS is a thing? Great, try it. You can achieve almost anything with enough patience, and that's a limiting factor.
So I think that's the very exciting and also very terrifying thing about this time, that we are in a time of experimentation. Everything is changing so rapidly, and we don't know where it's going. You can't say with confidence, don't become a programmer. You can't say anything. But I think you're right, Harper. Become an experimenter. By the way, I got out my copy of Lyon's Commentary on Unix, 6th edition. And in fact, the code comment, you are not expected to understand this, is on line 2238. So, so close.
So close. Well, I mean, we can change the name of the company.
I think that might be the necessary next step.
Yeah.
It's a really good
get
Easter
AI
egg.
To do it for you. You don't have to do any of the work.
I could.
It says, if the new process paused because it was swapped out, set the stack level to the last call to save USSAV. That means the return, which is executed immediately after the call to RTU, actually returns from the last routine, which did the save you. You are not expected to understand this. And that's Unix, baby, right in a nutshell, right there.
Wait, what's your company's number again?
2389.
So close.
What is line 2389, Leo?
Oh, that's a good question. Line 2389 is blank.
That's why we chose it, because it's a white field.
Space.
It's a white field.
Yeah, we're ready to go. We're filling it in. This is
Harper, you are an idea guy. You never fail to inspire. You never fail to excite me with your enthusiasm for life. And I think you've made a damn fine case for getting out there, experimenting. Go to Harper's blog and read these 2 posts to get started. Harper.blog. I really think there's a lot of meat in here. And there's also some great pictures, and you can use it to start your own journey, your own experimentation. It makes me want to, Harper. I'm so old. I wish I could start over again. I would love to be young right now and playing with this stuff. I think it's very, very exciting.
I like that. That's the thing you would do if you were young again. You know what I would like to do if I was young again is go inside and use a computer.
Yes.
Not enjoy the world.
No,
that would be boring.
I could do that when I'm old.
But here, I do think that it is worthwhile no matter what. Like I have so many friends that are like, oh, I could never become a programmer. I think the exciting thing is you can just go to like Bolt or Lovable or any of these apps and just build the thing you've always wanted to build and see how it goes. And that's a big change to what we were doing before. Like we didn't have that opportunity. You could not reasonably tell someone, just learn how to build a mobile app. That's an asinine thing to tell someone. Yeah. Now you could just be like, no, just build the mobile app. Like it's easy to do so. And it really is easy. Now, will it scale to 1 billion users? Well, that seems like a problem that you'll figure out if you have that problem. Like you'll figure out a solution.
It's an exciting and interesting time. Not necessarily, interesting times are not necessarily the best times.
Yes.
But it is interesting. You can't deny that.
It's uncomfortable, but good, I think.
Yeah. Harper, great to see you again. Thank you so much for coming on and exciting us with your ideas. I appreciate it. Harper Reed, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we're going to take a break. We will come back and we'll talk about Cluey or whatever that is. I don't even know what that is.
We will.
You'll find out.
We'll find out. I'll get clued in.
You'll get a Cluey.
You're watching Intelligent Machines. This episode of Intelligent Machines brought to you by Big ID, the next generation AI-powered data security, compliance, and privacy solution. That's a mouthful. But if you think about it, AI is transforming businesses. You know that. You watch this show. But with data risk, bias, and compliance challenges, are you adopting AI responsibly? I'm sure in the middle of the night you think that and go, Well, Big ID can help. They deliver end-to-end AI and data governance to help enterprises manage that risk, enforce policies, and ensure responsible AI adoption. Ensure AI only accesses safe-to-use, relevant data and automatically tags sensitive information by policy and type. You're in control suddenly. Big ID is the only leading solution to uncover dark data through AI classification, to identify AI risk, and to manage the data lifecycle. Plus, you can use it to scale your AI strategy amazingly. It integrates with everything you're already using, your existing tech stack, unmatched data source coverage. It allows you to automate privacy and security workflows. You can take action on data risks with automated remediation orchestrations. You can automate privacy management, regulatory compliance, data rights requests, and more. Just does it for you. Partners include, everything in your tech stack: ServiceNow, Palo Alto Networks, Microsoft, Google, AWS, and on and on. With Big ID's advanced AI models, you gain visibility and control over all your data. It's the platform Intuit named #1 for data classification and accuracy, speed, and scalability. Big ID equipped the U.S. Army, you've heard of them, to illuminate dark data and to automate data retention. I mean, you're talking about compliance. The Army's got a lot of compliance rules, right? U.S. Army Training and Doctrine Command gave them the best quote. Here we go. Quote, this is from U.S. Army Training and Doctrine Command. The first wow moment with Big ID came with being able to have that single interface that inventories a wide variety of data holdings, including structured and unstructured data across emails, zip files, SharePoint, databases, and more. To see that mass and to be able to correlate across those, completely novel. Again, this is a direct quote. I've never seen a capability that brings this together like Big ID does. CNBC recognized Big ID as one of the top 25 startups for the enterprise. They were named to the Inc. 5000, the Deloitte 500, not just once, but for 4 years in a row. The publisher of Cyber Defense Magazine says, quote, Big ID embodies the 3 major features we judges look for to become winners. Understanding tomorrow's threats today, providing a cost-effective solution, and innovating in unexpected ways that can help mitigate cyber risk and get one step ahead of the next breach. End quote. Start protecting your sensitive data wherever that data lives. BigID.com/IM. Get a free demo to see how Big ID can help your organization reduce data risk and accelerate safely the adoption of generative AI. Again, that's Big ID, BIGID, BigID.com/IM. By the way, there's a free guide that can help you understand the risks of generative AI and data-driven strategies to ensure responsible and compliant AI adoption. Something everybody needs to read that. And Big ID can help, of course. BigID.com/IM. It's the next era of data security, compliance, and AI. BigID.com/IM. We thank them so much for supporting us at this show. Intelligent Machines, we invite you to support us too by going there and using that address so they know you saw it here. BigID.com/IM. All right, I want to know about Cluey. Now you got me all excited.
Cluey, but
Cluey. Cluey
So
is
you
somebody
may
is
have
like a children's show character. It's
close.
an AI.
That's Bluey.
Oh yeah.
So this all started, you may have recall, I think in February or March, or at least I noticed on Twitter, there was this kid who kept going viral because he was talking about how he's a sophomore at Columbia and he used some app he created in order to get job offers from Amazon, TikTok, a bunch of other tech companies by cheating. Basically, it was a app that would kind of run undetected in the background. Whenever they would ask him like LeetCode code style questions, it would answer it for him. And he claims that he got job offers through this and then documented it in this thread that went viral, resulting in Columbia basically reaching out to discipline him because I guess he had, done something kind of strange. Then he recorded the discipline hearings using this tool.
Oh my God.
Posted that online. Then Columbia found him guilty of blasting their employees all over social media. So they expelled him instead of just suspending him. And today, or at least this week, he announced that his new product called Cluely, which isn't just for cheating on interviews, it's for cheating on everything. And there's a video to describe this if you'd like to play it.
So, and by the way, this is all part of a thread, a Bluesky thread about how awful this is. Everything about the tech and AI world
We'll see what you think.
makes me sick to my stomach. It's deeply antisocial.
And the big question is, what's cheating?
Right.
Thank you.
It's a guy on a date is what
Okay.
this is showing.
So, how old did you say you were?
I'm 30 years old.
See, is it in his
your
glasses?
profile says you worked at Bananazon.
Yeah. I've been there for the past 8 years doing like senior software engineering. So like coding.
Really?
I know I look a little young for my age, but I promise you, I'm 30 years old.
Okay, well, maybe you are just way older than you look.
I saw on your profile that you're like into.
So how's he seeing this, or this is just a
So
magic?
this is just a mock-up. It doesn't exist.
If you had
Essentially,
something to help you cheat, if you had Sarah de Bergerac on an app.
And then Onion Person, Juniper Beer, who's the one who posted this, finds this deeply disturbing, deeply awful anti-human garbage. We want you to cheat on everything. This is from Cluely. Yep, you heard that right. Sales calls, meetings, negotiations. If there's a faster way to win, we'll take it. We built Cluely so you never have to think alone again. It sees your screen, hears your audio, feeds you answers in real time, while others guess you're already right. Have you ever heard of this thing, Cluely, B? Because it kind of sounds like you. I'm thinking maybe I already have this. And
yes, it does sound similar. Cluey is an AI designed to assist with various tasks by interacting with users in real time, much like I do. However, the context of its functions, especially concerning sales calls and negotiations, can be pretty controversial. Are you curious about how Cluey works or its implications?
the voice just really makes me laugh.
That's why I do it.
Serious.
If it sounded
so
like
serious,
this,
yes.
it would just not be the same. And yes, they say the world will call it cheating, but so was the calculator. So was spell check.
Exactly.
So was Google. Every time technology makes us smarter, the world panics. And then it adapts, then it forgets, and suddenly It's normal. AI is not just another tool. It will redefine how our world works. Why memorize facts, write code, research anything when a model can do it in seconds?
So define cheating.
Well, lying is not good. So I think that video is unfortunate because it was a lot of lying.
Yeah,
right?
the video ends by him trying to order a beverage and the waiter, or wine, and the waiter realizing he has a fake ID and giving him grape juice instead. And the girl storms out, and then the AI helps him write an apology in real time to try and win her back.
Great.
So
that's a very poor example. But I do agree that the calculator, it would be. So, hey, do you have my new moral panic video? Because I think this is cheating.
That one.
Hey, that's my franchise.
That's going to take a minute.
So for those who are only listening, there is a Leo, looks a lot like me, but as you peel the skin back, underneath is a robot head.
It's upsetting.
Laser eyes.
Laser eyes.
The skin does not peel back in the way that you'd think.
Well, it's an AI. What do you want?
I mean, my problem with this is just...
well, you wouldn't want to date this guy.
I wouldn't want to date this guy, but two, like, it perhaps, yes. One, I don't think we even can say whether or not his claim is accurate that he used this and got him 4 jobs at these things. Yeah. But let's pretend that it is. That says more about the ease. The reason why companies like this ask you to solve like questions that are on like LEET code and whatnot in order to pass some bar of an interview is to understand how your mind works and test your skills. If you're able to bypass all of that with AI, I mean, I think that's just doing everyone a disservice.
2 questions. If you use it to get the job or the date or the degree, maybe, but once you have it, once you're doing the job, if you use this to do a better sales call,
what's wrong with that?
What's the harm?
You're making it up anyway, as we all know in sales. It's all made up.
There's a testing phase.
I don't think
and
people should lie.
Phase.
I do have a kind of a values-driven opinion about that. People shouldn't lie. You shouldn't say you're 30 when you're 19, obviously. But but I don't think it's cheating to use AI to supplement your knowledge.
Yes, I agree if you're truthful about it. Like, I think it would be a totally different conversation if the pitch for this was, tell everybody, I'm going to answer these interview questions, but I'll be using an AI assistant, and I'll also be using that while working. Sure, go for that, but people probably aren't going to want to hire you because they want to hire someone who has these skills innately and could be even better with AI.
Right. I'm trying to run Cluely right now.
The technology isn't bad, but like the way they're presenting it is really telling about who they are.
Yeah, I think the app lies because you know what? I'll tell you the truth. That's just good marketing. This kid is brilliant. He's a marketer. And what better way to get us and everybody in the world talking about him to saying, hey, you should use AI to help you cheat. That's all. It's just good marketing. Frankly, I tried to run his app and it doesn't seem to run. So maybe the whole thing is BS.
That's all.
Yeah.
I mean, that would.
He's just a con man. He's the Anna Delvey of 2025. That's all.
If he has a lawyer, Leo's just joking. He's not really saying that.
Would that be liable to say you're the Annie Delvey? Well, to say you're a con man, I guess.
Yeah, that'd be. Yeah.
You're not a con man. You're just a
that we know
prevaricating son of a gun.
You're a clever, which is otherwise known as a good marketer.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant marketing, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, I mean, I think
people
the
upset.
whole
That's good marketing.
Threads about getting expelled from Columbia are certainly good.
And maybe Columbia could have had a piece of this IP, but no more because Columbia is just doing everything wrong these days.
And maybe we shouldn't praise just good marketing. Like, why is that good?
No, I agree. No. I'm not praising it in that sense. I'm just saying the whole thing is an exercise in marketing. Don't take it
rather
so
than
seriously.
Anything about the technology.
Yeah. He raised $5.3 million for Cluely.
Oh boy.
Columbia maybe should have thought a little harder on this.
They need the money these days.
Yeah. Abstract Ventures and Sousa Ventures gave him $5.3 million. It's an interesting thought. So what did he do? He was using it.
It's agentic AI. If you called this agentic AI, maybe he would have gotten $1 billion, but that's what it is.
Part of the reason he wrote it, I'm sure, is these ridiculous tech interviews, right?
Yeah.
Where you're asked to perform like a dancing monkey in ways that don't really tell the interviewer or the company anything about you.
Right.
And to come up with if you can cheat on it, then that just shows you how dumb it is, right? Sales calls. Yeah.
Or also customer service calls. If it actually listens to what I need and pleases me and has the authority.
Yeah, I'm not sure agentic AI is going to be a bad thing for things like that. If it gets the job done. Harper's point, which I think was well taken, is that we have these kind of, they're almost prejudices about how things ought to be, and that really we just need to be a little more open about a world that is changing rapidly. Maybe it isn't good, but we gotta play with it to know. We gotta try it to know. I don't know. He's like me. He doesn't know what the end game is going to look like. Maybe this is all a waste of time. But it's interesting to experiment with it, I would say. Did you see how ChatGPT solved 5 years of jaw clicking?
I did see this.
This was really interesting. Now, this is actually a known fix, but somebody posted it on Reddit. I've had jaw clicking on the left side for over 5 years, probably from a boxing injury. And every time I opened my mouth wide, it would pop or shift. Yeah, that's a humble brag.
Notably, this is the ChatGPT subreddit, just to be clear.
Oh, yeah. I just started getting this 2 weeks ago. So I'm very
listen
eager,
to the instructions.
I'm very eager to hear.
I figure it was permanent damage. He's been to a lot of doctors, asked, yesterday, I randomly asked ChatGPT about it. It gave me a detailed explanation saying the disc in my jaw was probably just slightly displaced, but still movable, and suggested a specific way to open my mouth slowly while keeping my tongue on the roof of my mouth and watching for symmetry. I followed the instructions for maybe a minute max, and suddenly, no click. I opened and closed my jaw over and over again. It tracked perfectly. Still no clicking today. So that by itself, yeah, fine. But then all the responses, oh my God, it worked for me too. Mine does this too. Keep tongue on mouth. Holy cow, this worked for me.
Well, maybe it learned it from a doctor.
Oh, it did.
Said this online.
Oh, by the way, if you continue down the thread, this is a known.
So it's not
fix.
The AI that's smart.
The AI didn't invent it. But the point is that the AI was able to scan vast amounts of information.
I went to Google and asked this, or I went to a library, or I went to a dentist.
Yeah, I'll give you some PDF links on this from, for instance, the
because I'm going to try it.
TMJ exercises from the National Health Service. It's in there. It explains it in more detail. And obviously, ChatGPT ingested this. But the point is, you could go to 100 doctors and they may not know this, or they may have probably forgotten it. But ChatGPT doesn't forget everything and knows everything. And by the way, this Reddit threads, thank you. This worked for me. I've had this for 10 plus years. It's amazing. Physical therapists respond. The tongue positioning on the roof of your mouth actually increases the activity of the muscles in your jaw called the pterygoids. This stabilizes jaw mechanics as you open. Pretty important. Now, obviously, it's not going to work for all kinds of jaw clicking or TMJ, but I was blown away by the overflow number of responses. WTF, it worked for me too. I thought this was a forever thing for me. How many people have this? And the information's out there, but it's just out there. How do you get it? So
I was thinking about how do I get it to do it. It doesn't happen every time. How do I get it to do it for the dentist so the dentist can figure it out? So this is
Jeff, why haven't you found this out?
Because it just happened. I had the boxing match on CNN with Scott Jennings, and then after that,
oh God, why do you go on with that guy?
Right hook.
Why do you even give that guy?
I know. I was on again last night.
I have unsubscribed now to the Washington Post.
Whoa.
Well, you did too.
No, I still subscribe.
Oh no, I unsubscribed. That was it. The information.
Because
I unsubscribed. Yeah, I stopped watching CNN, especially now. MSNBC. The same thing's going to happen. They fired all those people. I'm sick of this, and I'm going to use my
You're mad as hell and not going to take it anymore
to vote. by walking because I have no power at all in any of this, but I'm going to pretend I do. It does feel a little powerless.
You did look
these
like the
days.
old man with the balloons right there.
I know. I'm the up guy.
You've got to get your computer to do that little balloon thing, and then it'll really
I
be
can
up.
turn that on, sure.
I don't know what the command is for it, but
I don't either, but you can actually do it from the command
what do you-
line. It's an Apple. It's an Apple.
Oh, it's an Apple thing, not a not a Zoom thing.
you're on an Apple right now.
I can't. Why doesn't this? Did you turn off the ability for the Zoom to do that? Oh, there we go.
Can you look sad because your wife just died?
Angry, a little grumpy. Grumpy too. Yeah, no, not too much. Back a little bit. There you go.
Oh, I really like that. That's really good. The slowness of the balloons is really what does it for me. They're not rising fast. It's just kind of.
See, what's irritating me is now Leo is going to be either from that or from the moral panic. He's going to be alone on the card.
Oh my God, this is good too.
You're
I wish I
kicking
could
us
combine this
off.
with the balloons. Little rain and balloons.
Yeah, how do I turn these on?
Are you on a Mac?
I am.
Yeah, I am too.
Okay, there's just a little thing in your menu bar that is maybe it's a Zoom or it's on the camera.
Times have changed. Everyone used to be like, how do I turn this off?
Now everybody wants to turn it on. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I know I turned it off at some point for this reason, but now this seems fun.
Is it system preferences?
I can never trigger it. It was funny that Harper had it on and triggered it. Yeah, it probably is. I don't know. It's in my menu bar, but I don't know. It's because my camera has a menu bar, probably.
Wait, you guys Twit recently turned 20. Do you want to know what also turned 20?
YouTube. I thought it was for me. I went to YouTube and I saw a cake. I thought that was nice of them celebrating our 20th anniversary. So we started at the same time as YouTube, apparently.
Slightly before.
You didn't know that?
There's a little logo here, a little dancing going on. Party animals. Join us in celebrating 20 years of creators, artists, and transforming video on YouTube. Now, I'm going to press this button. I don't know what's going to happen. It says cut the cake.
I wonder if they're going to let us
YouTube! YouTube rickrolled me.
Wow, a rare on-screen Rickroll.
That's not nice, YouTube. Not okay. The
Well, that
funny
was
thing
originally
is,
what made YouTube big is that that's how you got Rickrolled, is they sent you a YouTube link.
it probably helped.
That's how YouTube got big.
I think it was Dick in the Box, but okay, we could fight over that. We had it's so funny. They were running it still until recently in Canada. When I was doing the show Call for Help in Canada in Toronto, my co-host Amber MacArthur. This is around 2004, 2005. Brought in, she said, "Oh, you got to see this new site. It's called YouTube. You can share videos." And I'm going, "Oh, wow, what a great idea. This is so cool." But that's fine in 2004. But when you air that in 2021, it makes us look like complete morons. Wow, what is this YouTube thing of which you speak? Oh, I was glad they finally, I think, stopped airing it. China, of all places, is cracking down on autonomous car claims. We've had how many fatal accidents here in the U.S.? Yeah.
Jesus.
Authorities in China now prohibit the use of autonomous and smart driving in car ads. I wonder if they'd allow autopilot. It's funny because the DMV has accused Tesla of falsely portraying its vehicles as autonomous based on the language on its website, but it didn't ban it.
Hey, but according to Elon Musk on the earnings call this week in June, we're going to have autonomous Model Ys driving around Austin. So
what's going on in his brain? Do you think?
That's a big question.
We're living through chemistry.
I mean, 71% drop in revenue year over year for Tesla.
He promises he's going back.
He says, "I'm going to only do Doge 2 days a week."
Legitimately, maybe this is just my news alerts, but I got the news alert: 71% drop in revenue at Tesla, and then the news alert: Elon Musk promises he's leaving Doge and going back to Tesla as soon as possible. It's like,
yeah,
sure,
but take a look at the Tesla stock price. 71% drop in revenue. The stock price went up.
Well, it went up because Elon said he's going back to Tesla.
Which is just because it's a
it went
cult.
down and then it went back up.
It's a meme stock. It's not a real stock.
No, it's not.
Because honestly,
It
I mean,
hasn't been for a while.
I don't own any Tesla stock or anything else, but it does seem to me not a great investment. Look, here's the even more clear
There was a
graph.
special ETF where you could buy the ETF to short it. So I did for $200 for.
Oh, you're one of those shorters.
I
You know, for the
did.
longest time, because I was a big Tesla fan. I remember I cried when I went to when I picked up my Model X back in 2015, and I got the tour of the factory. I was in tears. I was so moved by the mission.
And then your wife cried when the door hit her in the head. But
there were many more tears shed for various reasons. She hated that car. She called it Christine. And after 3 years, I did turn it back in, so I no longer drive a Tesla. Although it's a fun thing. My son, who, as you know, is moved to New York. He's opening his restaurant. By the way, Memorial Day weekend, May 31st.
Ooh,
Grand
I'll put it on
opening
my-
of Salt Hanks Sandwiches on Bleecker Street, right next to John's. And apparently a mortuary is right there, too.
yes, there is. That's right.
I've been watching Henry's vlogs. Anyway, when he left California, he left his Tesla behind, right? Because he's not going to drive in New York. He didn't want to have a car in New York. So I have a Model Y in my driveway.
Oh, no.
And I've
And
been
do you
watching
ask
the
yourself,
price.
Model Y?
Why? I'm watching the price. You know, I'm just...
You know what, Leo? Here's a way to make money with it. You charge $250 each to come with a sledgehammer
Oh.
and smash it.
Oh, I'll ask Henry if he'll let me do that. What
Make
a
it 500.
good idea.
That could be one of the hours on our 24-hour live.
Yes, it could be.
Destroy Henry's Tesla.
Yeah.
Yes, they can pay
We already did
$10
the thank
for
you.
Prepares to hit it with a yes, that's perfect. $10 for me to hit it with a sledgehammer. I would absolutely.
Well,
Yeah.
how much might it get now? So how many sledgehammers? Let's figure this out.
Yeah, let's figure out how many sledgehammer hits it would take to fully destroy
profit.
it. And then
I got a
how
quote
much you could
from
sell it for.
CarMax for $22,000. So, but I don't know if that's good anymore. Because it's been a week or two, and I think it's plummeting. I sent Henry a note saying, "Dude, help me sell this car. The price is plummeting." That's a lot of. I think it's quite a few.
A lot of happy
hits.
people, though.
I know. Think about it.
I'll
suggest it.
I asked ChatGPT how many sledgehammer hits would it take to total a Tesla Model Y, and it wrote a novel. It wrote 1,000 words.
But it's thinking, it's reasoning, and the answer is
Well, it says it depends on a few variables. Depends on what counts as totaled.
It
depends on
depends
where
is
you're
not the
hitting.
answer you
Who's
want.
swimming? Damage by section. Totals. A strong person could total a Model Y in 50 to 100 well-placed sledgehammer hits. If you're only smashing body parts randomly, it might take several hundred to do an insurance total level damage.
Then
Want a
you
breakdown
got it.
based on a specific scenario, like one person, 1 hour, 10-pound sledgehammer? And then there's a pop-up that ChatGPT asks, "Do you like this personally?"
is this something you want?
Are you
to do?
violent?
So here's perplexity.
guess.
It would take 32 full force sledgehammer hits to cause significant structural damage.
Probably,
It's got steel plates in the cabin and mega castings. Look at this. I got a table. Yeah, see, I couldn't charge enough. I'd have to charge like $500 a hit to really make it.
I think you'd find people who do
I
it.
think it's not good. I think that they're overestimating the strength of the person using
yes.
the hedge hammer.
Yeah, these are
sledgehammer.
nerds.
I think that
Maybe if
I
I,
think
give
that
him just a little hammer.
ChatGPT's
Wait a minute. Why am I giving him a
baseball bat.
sledgehammer?
We can do
Let's give him a baseball bat.
Baseball bat. Wooden baseball bat.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
baseball bat.
Profit.
Yeah, that's profit.
Profit.
Telling you.
Okay. I'm going to message Henry. If he agrees to it, we'll do it. We'll stream the whole thing.
Probably the battery will go on fire and it'll be fun to watch.
It'll be great. They can see us blow up live on air. That'll
And
be
you
fun.
can charge locals more so they can do it themselves.
This could be the new version of the Twit brick. You could take home a piece of Henry's Tesla that you hit off yourself.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, or we could throw bricks at
If you
it.
get it,
That
throw
could-
bricks
There
at
you
it.
go.
And if you get a
could kind
piece, you
of-
get to keep it.
That's true.
All good ideas.
I thought it was interesting that Harper said, yeah, eventually we won't have to work, and then it'll be a universal basic income. Apparently, he's not alone with this idea. A company is being founded called Mechanize, and the premise. This was founded by, according to TechCrunch, famous AI researcher Temeh Besselroglu. The premise is the full automation of all work, not just some, but all work.
I'm sorry. I laughed at Burke's comment in the Discord, which is unrelated, but is related to the Tesla, and I have to say it now. He said, in all caps, I have tried to destroy a car with a sledgehammer. It is harder than you think. I have knuckle scars to prove it.
It's just like strangling a person. It's harder than you think. Very similar. I'm not claiming any
All right. Bert, why did you try to destroy the car with a sledgehammer?
That sounds like Burke. Oh, he used to work. I know why. He used to work with Mark Pauline, the world famous. Was it when you were doing it with Pauline? With
the world famous what? What line of work would lead to Burke
fill in the blank.
destroying a car with a sledgehammer?
Mark Pauline was the founder of an art project called Survival Research Labs, SRL. And they would do scary...
Oh, this is a sick website.
No, he's great. They would do... No, this guy's an artist. They would do
saying
these
it's awesome,
incredible
sick
shows underneath the overpass in San Francisco, in which fire-eating machines would destroy each other. And
Burke said it was completely unrelated to work. It was in high school.
Oh, 'cause Burke did used to work for Mark Pauline.
Did you get arrested, Burke?
He had consent.
Oh, okay.
That sounds like a high school.
Well, Joe Esposito used to smash cars in his dad's wrecking yard. This
Joe
is
would
good.
know about this.
So
Joe, that's great. You can be our local expert.
Yeah.
Come on down. Help me out. Henry's going to kill me.
You wanted to move to New York. Now we got to.
Okay, we got to do something with this Model Y.
Hammers.
It's also bad for your reputation to have that in the driveway, Leo. So you got to get it out of there.
I know. I keep waiting for somebody to spray paint it.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining Henry trying to explain this to someone, being like, yeah, I had to move to New York to open up my TikTok sandwich shop. So now my dad is live streaming people on the internet attacking my Tesla with hammers. They're like, oh, another day.
All right, let's take a little break. More AI news and other news still to come. Paris Martineau is here. The wonderful Paris Martineau. Have you done something with your hair?
I have a different light behind me that is reflecting kind of a red thing.
It looks good. No, it really looks good. I like it.
Yeah, it brings out the auburn.
It does. It's a plant. It's the light I normally use for my plants, but it is just in a good position.
Oh, and you're going to grow.
Good
so
for
I am.
plants.
I'm getting taller.
Good for people.
Yeah.
Paris,
is taller than you thought.
Yeah.
I'll be 6'1" by the end of this podcast.
And I'm getting shorter, so there. That is Jeff Jarvis to her right. He is the professor emeritus of journalism, but also the author of fabulous books like The Web We Weave and the Gutenberg Parenthesis. And SUNY Stonybrook, are you going to be teaching? Have you found out yet in the fall, or is that not?
No, somebody else is going to teach the course. I'll probably be lecturing the course, but it's
nice.
The course I wrote. I was going to say this with Harper in AI and creativity. The dean told me that it was the most popular sign up yet in the term.
I think this is the future,
change,
Jeff. This is absolutely the future. And I think I really liked Harper's attitude, which is, hey, we don't know, but play with it, experiment with it.
Yeah.
There's something going on. I mean, we all, even you, Paris, a skeptic, have to say there's something going on, right?
Yeah. No, I will say that that conversation with Harper made me want to see if I can design a video game.
See? And play around with it.
Yeah.
Get to know your local
Well, here's
AI.
the question I have. Once it codes it, how do you make it executable and where do you put it?
It codes an executable. Well, it depends what you have it right in. If it's
I was
in
going to say,
Python,
I understand coding, but my knowledge of coding is so little that I can't even comprehend any of it.
You're better off.
Well, where do you host the game is what I'm trying to ask in parents.
Oh, you give it, people can download it and play it. Or you have to tell it if you want it to be a web-based game, it can do that. You tell it where you want to, how you want to deliver it, how you want to package it.
All right.
Can you help me build a game? It's very slow.
Absolutely. What kind of game do you want to build? Do you have a specific concept or idea in mind, such as the genre, gameplay mechanics, or platform? Let me know what you're thinking, and I can help
Flappy
you get
Bird
started.
with Jeff Jarvis's face.
I want to do a Flappy Bird clone, but instead of a bird, I want it to be a flying journalist professor.
With white hair.
That sounds like a fun and creative twist. Here's a basic outline to get you started on your Flappy Bird clone featuring a flying journalist professor. 1. Game design concept. Character. Instead of a bird, you'll have a flying journalist professor. Consider what costume or gear, like glasses, a notepad, or a pen, this character might have to enhance the theme. Obstacles. You could use various obstacles based on journalism, like stacks of newspapers, camera tripods, or even giant pencils. 2. Game mechanics. Controls. Players tap the screen or press a key to make the character flap, rise, release to let gravity pull them down. Scoring. Players earn points by passing through gaps between obstacles. Power-ups. Consider adding items like scoops that give extra points or temporary invincibility.
You got
3.
a scoop.
Development tools. Game engine. You can use engines like Unity or Godot for this type of 2D game. Both have strong communities and lots of resources for beginners. Assets. You'll
Parents, are
need
you
sprites
writing
for
with
your
a
character,
plant
obstacles,
twig?
and backgrounds. You can create your own or find
tulip
free
pen.
resources online. 4. Basic game loop. Create the main game screen. Implement character controls and physics,
just do it.
gravity.
Just do it.
Well, it's giving me an outline of the things I need to solve.
Scoring system.
I can't figure out how to shut it
Yeah,
up.
you need
Screen
that
and restart
transcript,
option.
and then you need to
Would you
feed
like-
that. to
Oh, no,
the
I
code
have the
generator.
transcript. That's fine. Thank you very much. Bye.
Yeah, you got to
Okay.
feed that. to
You
the
just
code generator.
wasted how many millions of dollars?
I burned a forest for that, baby.
If you need more help with the game,
Just saying please and thank you costs them millions of dollars.
Isn't that hysterical? We
OpenAI.
talked about that last week, didn't we? Or
On Twit.
on Twit. That's why Paris was there. She remembers it. Yeah, Sam Altman said that every time you say please and thank you, it uses more CPU cycle, obviously, because that's to think of a response. And he says it's costing us tens of millions of dollars in aggregate. Thank you, Sam. A new way to ruin your life. All right, we're going to take a break. We got to
Wait. No, I've got it. It's a game where you're smashing the Tesla. Oh. You're going to be rich. Rich, I tell you.
Actually, that would probably do very well.
It would.
They'll sue you if you use the Tesla IP in the game. You're not going to get away.
We
with
don't
that.
call it a Tesla.
Then
we
it's
just
not gonna-
call
then-
it
then it's
a-
not going to sell because that's the selling point.
We call it a cyberplunk.
I'll release it anonymously. Let's erase the last 10 minutes. This episode of Intelligent Machines is brought to you
Crazy
by
vibes today.
Silly Vibes. Brought to you by Storyblock. Let's talk about you both worked, I'm sure, with legacy content management systems, CMSs. They can be so painful. Yeah. They promise enterprise-grade features, but they're slow, clunky, and of course, the smallest change, smallest update, you got to get a developer involved. And when you're trying to move fast, that's the last thing you want to do. Well, Storyblock is brand new, and it changes all of that. Unlike those kind of monolithic, inflexible CMSs, Storyblock, so cool. I know a little bit about this because we did this, is a headless CMS. It completely decouples the back end from the front end. So developers can build the front end in any framework they want. They can use React, Astro, Vue, whatever. Marketers can even use it. It's so easy to use. They can use an intuitive visual editor to create and update content without having to get a developer involved. Don't have to file a ticket. Storyblock scales, whether you're a freelancer or part of a global enterprise. And by the way, they are a global CDN, content delivery network. They use AWS data centers all over the world, US, Europe, Asia. So it's built for performance, and at performance at scale, where do you see some of the people who use Storyblock? Storyblock really is enterprise ready with role-based access control, Of course, enterprise SLAs and top-tier security. It's the stuff Fortune 500 companies demand. One global e-commerce giant, you would know the name, switched to Storyblock and cut the content update cycles from weeks to hours. Another major brand, a name you'd know, again, empowered marketing to launch campaigns completely independently, freeing up the developers for bigger projects. Storyblock is API first, and this is such a great way to do it. Your content loads fast anywhere in the world. It means better UX design, higher engagement, improved SEO, and with their real-time visual editor, marketers see exactly what the content will look like before publishing. No more endless back and forth over minor tweaks. You can move something, change a color, do it all yourself, and you'll see immediately what it looks like. Developers get fewer interruptions, marketers get more autonomy. It's a win all around. If you're an agency, Storyblock offers multi-client workspaces, flexible permissions, seamless collaboration tools. You can manage multiple projects without disrupting development workflows. It's all in there, ready for you to use. So whether you're a startup, an enterprise, an agency juggling multiple clients, Storyblock, remember that name, Storyblock gives you the power and flexibility you need. Try it today, storyblock.com/TwitTV-25 with the offer code TWIT25 to get you 20% off for 3 months on the Growth and Growth Plus plans. Storyblock.com/TwitTV-25, offer code TWIT25 for 20% off the first 3 months on the Growth and Growth Plus plans. STORYBLOK.com/TWITTV-25. Again, the offer code is TWIT25. Thank you, Storyblock, for supporting intelligent machines.
Will you indulge me a quick CMS story?
Oh, God.
Wait,
I bet.
A brief aside first, and then this. I asked ChatGPT to make me a Flappy Bird with Jeff's face. It required some troubleshooting. It ostensibly works, but I don't know what the controls are. So every time I open it, it's just a photo of Jeff's face that immediately falls to the ground and then says game over. And I just think that says something about what's going on.
You need to prompt it. You need to tell it what you want the controls to be. Just tell it what the controls.
Do we have a screenshot?
To be.
I will. Hold on a second.
What are you
Tell
using
your
to write
CMS
this?
story. I just asked ChatGPT generate code for simple Flappy Bird like game, but with this man's face as the bird.
It's kind of mind-boggling, isn't it?
I'll ask it to do the controls if you want to tell your CMS story.
And then we will put it up on our Discord for our club members.
Yay! Yeah, what a benefit.
Can make membership.
Yeah.
Does Jeff?
I don't know how to
is it
publish
Jeff's
this,
arms
but-
flap or what? Or
I mean, we'll find out.
So CMSs are notoriously troubling, especially the old school ones, right?
So I go way, way, way back with this. My first newsroom system was 1974, kids. And when I started Entertainment Weekly, I didn't like the computer department, and my wife is brilliant. And so we set up the first major all Macintosh system.
Nice.
And it's part of my Linotype book, believe it or not, because it's kind of the end of the Linotype story is desktop publishing. So she went to the Siebold conference and presented her work, right? All these things.
Oh,
right,
that's so cool.
Right?
Whoa.
So we had no management system. Oh, that changed the weight balance.
What does your wife do? You know, we've never talked about her.
She trained, so she was a special ed teacher.
Right.
And then she went to work at Time Inc. That's where we met. And she trained all of the editors and correspondents on computers.
So this was her thing.
Oh yeah, that's what she did.
Well, that's cool.
And then we met, and her department hated me, and so we went to it.
Why did they hate you? Just out of curiosity.
Because I was constantly fighting them for the system they wanted, and then but then I got my revenge. Because I married her, and we took her away from that department. And B, because when we started EW, she and we've been talking about it lately because I've been writing this up. It was audacious in ways we didn't know. It was the very beginning days. Quark was brand new.
Oh yeah, that was the page. That was the desktop publishing app.
But here's the CMS part of it: is that there was no content management system, right? So
no way to interface
Macs,
to it,
and we had servers with content on it, but there's no way to manage it. So we invented what we called the conch system. It was a physical manila folder that had the name of the story on it, and unless you had the conch, you couldn't speak, you couldn't edit it.
Oh, that's cool.
That's how we did it. So this has all been memory lane for me. The Computer History Museum in 2017 did a phenomenal multi-day, all recorded pioneers of desktop publishing event.
Wow.
I watched all 12 hours of it. It is,
Is it online somewhere?
Yes, it is. It's all online.
On YouTube?
Computer History Museum, pioneers of
Desktop publishing.
Desktop publishing. And they have all kinds of other material up, and it's just wonderful.
The reason you needed the conch, and this is historically a difficult challenge, is if two people are working on the same file, it really becomes a problem because they can make different changes and which one should they keep and so forth. So it was a clever way to say you can touch this file right now, and then you hand the conch, the little shell off, which people use in real life during round table discussions and things.
Did you know of Jonathan Seibold and Seibold seminars?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So that was I'm going to talk to Jonathan soon. So she was invited to go present this.
Pretty cool.
Without everybody, because it saved us $3 million a year with the computer department at Time Inc.
We still have that problem. We had an intern design a sales system for us, and only one person can be in it at a time. So Lisa has to go out onto our Slack saying, "Everybody off the sales system."
She was the conch.
Only was the conch. We got to get a conch. That's what we need, a conch.
Flappy Bird game is a bust, guys.
Oh no!
I can't get it. Part of you guys know how Flappy Bird works. The bird starts, you got to click for it to go through.
Yeah.
There's something about the bird is like too heavy, and the amount it jumps when you click is either too little or too much, to where I've finally gotten it by asking it some very rudimentary questions to where I can kind of click to make the bird flap, but it just shoots off the screen either way, and it's too hard to control. It turns out designing a game is harder than writing
It's a very accurate
ChatGPT.
Flappy Bird, actually. Flappy Jeff.
True.
And we have Pretty Fly for Cis Guy has created a box cover for Flappy Bird. Flappy Jeff, I think we're going to call it, and we're ready. We're ready.
Yep, I'm ready.
I think that this is a good project for you, Paris, to take what you've learned from Harper Reed and all of these conversations and to work on this through the night until you get a Flappy
I think that's
Jeff.
smart. I'm gonna maybe I will.
A whole new
thing. It'll give
for
you an appreciation of how many details there are to creating a game. Like there are a lot
to
of
think
things
all of that.
You have to figure out how much you want it to flap when you press the thing, and how much or how little, all that stuff.
I've written a few games. I wrote a snake game, a Sudoku solver. I've written.
Do you only write
tic-tac-toe.
games that begin with S? Oh, I guess
Yes,
tic-tac-toe is different.
S, and then I got to the T in the alphabet. And next
And
I'm
you're
going
like,
to
ooh.
write something called Ulysses. Okay, I think we're now to the rest of the story.
And now the rest of the story.
The rest. Oh, you know
Page
that.
2.
Do you know him?
I know him.
Paul Harvey. And now, page 2.
I'll see you on the radio.
I'll see you on.
Another.
Did I ever tell you the story about my friend
grew
who
up
met Paul
watching
Harvey? He
Sunday
was in
morning.
Chicago. Paul used to work at, I can't remember, what was it, WSJ or whatever it was in Chicago. And he was in Chicago. He got in the elevator. And there's Paul Harvey standing there. Everybody knows Paul Harvey, world famous newscaster. They go up in the elevator. He gets to his floor, starts to get out. Paul Harvey says, "Goodbye, American." It must be nice to know you're recognized. Your catch line is going to be recognized.
Wow.
Welcome to Slop World. How the hostile internet is driving us crazy. From the Financial Times. This is a good illustration. The last bits of fellowship and ingenuity on the web are being swept away by a tide of so-called artificial intelligence. From Kierkegaard's journals in 1843. Suppose someone invented an instrument, a convenient little talking tube, which, say, could be heard all over the land. I wonder if the police would not forbid it, fearing the whole country would become mentally deranged if it was used. Kierkegaard's talking tube. It's famous. No, it's not. Well, I presume you put this in, Jeff. This feels like a very Jeff Jarvis.
Yeah, it's very essay-ish. But it does speak to the problem of the web now, right? It's being filled up with slop of all sorts, and not just computer generated slop, but slop.
I think it's important.
You're calling Flappy Jeff slop? It's a game that doesn't work at all.
I'm surprised to hear you say that, Jeff, because you have so long defended the internet.
I do defend the internet. I want to defend it from slop.
It is full of slop now. That's true.
But a lot of that slop is output by plain old human beings. I mean, it's not all AI slop by any means.
So it has this nice analog in here, metaphor. The hostile internet has a meat space analog in New York City's Moynihan Train Hall, which you'll see when you're in New York. A 1.6 billion, 486,000 square foot station unveiled in 2021. The building was supposed to be an homage to the original, much mourned Penn Station. But on a human level, the new facility is a disaster. Like so many other places designed by the principles of hostile architecture, there's almost nowhere to sit lest a homeless person might find a place to take a nap.
Yeah, you don't
There
want
are plenty
that.
of places to shop and spend money, along with the requisite phalanx of surveillance cameras. Enormous high-resolution screens circle the main atrium, broadcasting constant ads. Train times are displayed on smaller screens strewn around the building. Like the Moynihan Train Hall, today's internet isn't really designed for us, but rather to elicit certain responses from us, responses which, to put it loftily, are hostile to human flourishing. I think that's going a little far, but I think that it has been taken over by, as it says here, a witch's brew.
I would say, though, that the response to that is it is up to all of us to maintain our mental health by tuning out the stuff that we feel is causing those problems. I don't go to x.com anymore. I don't go to Instagram. I mean, I think that's are you saying people are unable to tune that stuff out or to turn that stuff off?
Well, it's harder to.
Newton Minnow said that about TV. It's a vast wasteland. Okay, well, just turn it off.
And I make his daughter mad every time I make fun of it.
TV, in this case, the stuff is at least being made by humans and pitched to someone who agreed it had some value of some kind, whether or not that's traditional value or just could be something to consume and brain rot. I think what Jeff is talking about, one example of this, I mean, you just said you're not on Twitter anymore, which is a good choice, but I'm sure this happens on other sites. But I've most recently noticed it in Twitter. You'll go and look at a post and the replies are all clearly like accounts using chatbots to reply. They all use kind of the same phrasing or have the same formatted answers. And then you go to that profile's page and they've produced like 200 of those types of replies on different people's tweets like that day. It's just, there's slop everywhere. It's just making the internet more noisy in a way that is frustrating.
Reading again, the scholar John Durham Peters made the connection explicitly in his 2010 paper, Broadcasting and Schizophrenia. What was once mad or uncanny is now routine, hearing disembodied voices and speaking to nobody in particular, he wrote. Prodded by slacking bosses, tempted by Instagram ads, trolled and provoked by inflammatory content, served up by recommendation systems tuned to do just that, we can become our own worst selves online, or some other self entirely, surrendering to the libidinal forces of algorithmic mass media.
Yeah, but I mean, weren't news groups pretty full of crap even before AI?
Yeah. And newspapers were.
Yeah.
Newspapers were, that was the whole point of mass media, it became full of crap. I know, I'm not agreeing with it, but I found it interesting.
Okay.
It was provocative.
It is provocative, and it feels like the same old moral panic BS that people have been saying forever. President moral panic.
Oh, I like that one.
Guys, when are we going to get a sand reference? A sand.
Yeah, sand reference.
One.
Yeah. We
got to get a sand button going on.
This is just some old person who doesn't like the way the modern world has turned out, and you guys ought to turn down your music and cut your hair.
I think that there are real examples of this. For instance, Dropout TV, the subscription network I often plug because I like their shows. They have one show that I don't watch that often, but I'm aware of it. It's called the Smarty Pants Society. It's kind of like a PowerPoint party presentation, but with comedians doing different bits. And there was a controversy recently because people online found that one of the PowerPoints someone presented used a bunch of AI generated art, and typically the company's against that. And they had to issue a statement being like, listen, we do have a very strong sense against using AI generated art. We bought these photos from like Getty or some subscription service we use thinking they were real, but we were tricked into using fake images basically. And that's a problem. When people can't tell from what's fake and real, I think that that's an issue.
Yeah, Photoshop. Yeah, you know.
So the Pew Research Center, which, I mean, we like Pew, right? We trust their surveys.
But Pew, yeah.
Pew, P-E-W. They do a lot of surveys trying to understand.
That was a little view of 15-year-old Paris there.
I don't know what the energy is today, but it's kind of it's changing me somehow.
They did a survey of teens aged 13 to 17. They found their parents are generally more worried than their children about the mental health of teenagers today. Both groups call out social media impact on young people's well-being. Parents are much more likely to make this collection. 48% of teens say social sites have a mostly negative. Now Pew is asking me some questions.
Slop. It's all slop.
Pew, stop. I'm trying to read your goddamn story out loud. Thank you, Pew.
Give me credit for it.
Roughly half of teens, 48%, say these sites have a mostly negative effect on people their age. But, and this is most important, only 14% they think they negatively affect them personally. It's those other people it's affecting, very much like this story. By the way, 1 in 5 say social media sites hurt their mental health, but most teens say it makes them feel more connected to their friends, like 80%.
Yeah, which they've been saying for quite a while now.
Yeah. More teens say they spend too much time than before. It was 36% in 2022. Now 45% of teens say they spend too much time on social media. Not half, almost half. Teen girls are more likely than boys to say social media hurt their mental health, but it's still 25% versus 14%. Confidence, 20% versus 10%, girls versus boys. 50% of the girls say social media has hurt their sleep. 40% of the boys. I think social media has hurt my sleep. I've made a conscious effort to stop if I'm tossing and turning at 3 a.m, reaching over for my phone. I don't. I just toss and turn.
Yeah, even I wouldn't do that.
I did that for a long time. That's why I bought all those stupid things on Instagram. Like this fine koala screen cleaner in microfiber cloth, made in America. That was an Instagram purchase. A majority of teens see social media as a positive space for friendships and creativity. 74% of teens say social media makes them feel more connected to their friends. 63% say it gives them a place to show off their creative side. It's the parents that are worried. 80% of parents say they're extremely or very comfortable talking to their teens about their teens' mental health, but only 52% of teens do. 34% of teens say they at least sometimes get information about mental health on social media. I think this is a really useful kind of, it's not as bad as the parents think it is kind of a result.
Yeah, because the parents are in a moral panic.
Yeah, and I feel like that financial... More AI slop.
You made me burn like 3 new ones already.
Good to burn them. You can use them again and again.
Yes.
They're life-changing, Benita.
There's favorites, yeah.
That one's a top one for me because of the really jarring sound of Leo being peeled from the screen. This
is a show you better watch the video, I guess, because we can describe it. It looks like it's me, but then a hand reaches in and peels me.
You have to put that up on social.
2 big, cartoony, 3-dimensional fingers come in and peel Leo from the screen.
Are those all from Anthony Nielsen?
With a wet schlooping sound.
It's all Anthony.
Yeah. Anthony is our AI genius. In fact, if you want to know how he makes those, you should definitely tune in Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific for our monthly AI user group meeting, Anthony's going to explain a little bit about how he does these wonderful things.
Yay.
He's very good at this. I will be there unless I'm forced to sell my son's Model Y at that time. Pick some. These are good. There's a lot of good stories in here. Thank you for putting them in.
I know the one I really like is where to go here? Where to go? Oh, Kaggle. Kaggle.
Wikipedia. So
yes.
we've mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. The Wikipedia was getting swamped by AI bots, scraping its content.
And if they were like a big old media company, their response would be to complain and sue and get publicity. But instead, Wikipedia did what, Leo?
They went to Kaggle, which is a very well-known data scientist site. Kaggle's used. Data scientists go there to test their abilities and so forth. And they have many, many data sets, 461,000 freely accessible data sets that AIs, among other things, can use, researchers use, students use to train, to learn.
So don't scrape our site. Just go there and download it.
Yeah, Kaggle is hosting.
That's what everybody should do.
A beta release of Wikipedia's entire data in both French and English. Go there, get it from Kaggle. Kaggle can support it. It's formatted for machine learning. Great idea.
Brilliant, isn't it? I love that.
Yeah, and it looks like Google helped them because this is from the Google keyword blog. So I'm guessing Google's providing some bandwidth or something like that. You know, this is how these AI companies have got to respond. They've got to be, caring participants in this because you're going to end up killing all the data resources that you need to make better AIs. So I think that's good. I'm not so happy about the administration's plans to cram AI into K through 12 schools.
Yeah.
Sorry, don't you mean A1?
A1?
Yes, I mean A1. It's under consideration. And we haven't seen the.
It was called pre-decisional.
Pre-decisional. In other words, we haven't told Donald about it, and we're hoping he's going to go for it and take the Sharpie to it. Under the draft executive order, federal agencies would be instructed to take steps to train students in using AI and incorporate it into teaching-related tasks. I'm not against this, but this is exactly what you had a Department of Education for.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't do it with a Sharpie, saying, "Oh, we poured the sauce over, and now it's in the classroom." This requires thought,
and you need experts. You need experts in this field to help you do this instead of just saying, "Well, David Sachs told us it was a good idea, so we're going to do it."
Right. And my district here, a well-to-do district, is firing 30 people because of the budget problems. And you know what's going to happen. They say, "Well, you got AI now. It's okay. You just use the AI. We'll give you another 10 students. You got the AI. It'll be okay."
Yeah. I mean, it's probably, I've seen some evidence that AI can make a pretty good tutor. That kids can learn from AI tutors, but I think it has to be done intelligently, carefully, and slowly. I don't think you need to rush it in or jam it in. And I have a feeling that's what this will end up doing. So,
yep.
Oh, well, welcome to the new world.
So, Leo, I have an idea for a new service that you could provide for your hosts and perhaps your guests and others.
Yes.
Is perhaps you could be a verification party.
So I saw this Skeeter thing. So this is on the Skeet, on the Bluesky. I want to just call it the Skeet. Can I just call it the Skeet? Bluesky is adding blue check marks, but they're doing it, I think, in the right way. They're not. They're not just kind of give us $8. You got a check mark. In fact, I still don't have a check mark.
You never got one
on Bluesky?
No, on Twitter.
Oh no, I've had one on Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter. I thought okay.
What Cory Doctorow calls a non-consensual blue check. Yes, they just gave it to me. Actually, it's been good because it gives me full access to Grok, so I can play with Grok a little bit. No, I'm saying on Bluesky, I don't. The thing about Bluesky that I think it doesn't really need this because I self-verify.
Which they make a point of that, saying that's their primary means of verification.
Okay, good.
Is that you use your domain, which you long ago argued was the benefit.
A lot of people can't do it. I understand. I mean, it takes a little DNS foo and so forth. Plus, you have to own a domain. I have a domain I wasn't using called leolaporte.me. So when you go to my Bluesky, you'll see it's at leolaporte.me. And I guess the theory is that people might want to, actually go to that website.
When you added that, when you changed to that Did you lose anything?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
I've just got to do it.
And then what it will take you to is what I consider a proof of identity. First of all, that it's there, it's hosted on Fastmail, and it's signed by my PGP private key, so which you can validate with my public key, which is publicly available. So I consider that a pretty rock solid proof. Plus, it then links to an about page, which then tells you more about me and has a QR code you can scan if that points back to Bluesky and so forth. So,
Jeff, the thing that I think is particularly useful for you. So when I set up my Bluesky is Paris.nyc. This was before they'd rolled out this particular feature. But now, if you set up a custom URL, it will save your current Bluesky handle, jeffjarvis.bluesky.social, so that no one could do that. Like I have to have I have a second Bluesky account that's just my old handle so that nobody could camp that. But it's only because I was an early member of Bluesky and set up a custom URL in like 2023.
But you have to know how to do that. And I understand that 90% of users of this kind of thing aren't going to know how to do that, right?
That's fine.
So what is the mechanism now? You're saying that I, as an organization, Twit as an organization,
they will approve some approvers. Yes.
Oh, well, I'm going to get in the
No,
sum.
I think it'd be perfect. I think it'd be
Washington Post might get in the sum.
No, I think Twit and its whole network.
Well, I'd be glad to be an approver. So what do I have to apply to?
Yeah, I think there's something like that there.
Okay, well, I'll look into it. Yeah, well, I wouldn't. So then there would be Patrick would probably have to do it, right? Sorry, Patrick. There'd be some sort of mechanism that we would.
Well, then you could, I guess, as part of the whole Tesla scam, you could be like, you could charge people for a Bluecheck.
So actually, I realized the thing is that you sell the sledgehammers, you sell the ability to hit the thing, and then if you want to pay a little extra, you can get a Bluecheck.
That's great. Yeah. Make sure, let's scrub this part of the video too, so it doesn't
yes, we don't want to get in trouble.
We can't have Bluesky hearing about this.
Anybody.
I didn't know the 4chan was dead.
Yeah. Thank God.
That's actually crazy.
Yeah.
It's dead, but there are plenty of other replacements.
Yes.
There was a time in my life where I'd have to check 4chan every night to see what the people were up to. That's how I discovered QAnon. I'm sorry.
Was that as in your role as a reporter, or
that was when I was at New York Magazine.
Wow, what a horrible assignment!
I mean, it wasn't an assignment. I chose to do it because I was like, people are going to want to read about what the freaks on 4chan are doing. I did one good article about how people on 4chan were consuming raw onions because they thought it made them more manly, increased their testosterone.
Well, it guarantees they're not going to get a date.
That's a way to do it.
Well, that's maybe their goal too, actually.
But now you can't even do that.
Oh,
they don't let you eat raw onions
because I eat
anymore.
onions. Wow. Okay. What was I had some thought about Bluesky and this is my biggest kind of thing that I would love to see solved. There isn't really anywhere a centralized way to say I am who I say I am. There used to be a wonderful site called Keybase, keybase.org. It's still around, but they were bought by Zoom, and I'm not sure it really does what it used to do.
Oh, is that why Keybase stopped working for me? That would make sense.
We need something like that. Don't you agree? So what I did with Keybase is you would go there and...
Isn't this the orb? Isn't this what the orb is?
I guess it is what the orb is. I mean, he's trying to solve that problem.
Look into?
And it does. I don't know if it should be with biometrics. Though the idea of Keybase was you could use DNS to prove who you are, because you'd have a website that you controlled, maybe your Paris.nyc site, and you could use DNS to post a little text string in there that would say, see, I am Paris, I control this site, and then Keybase would say, yep, that's her site. And then you could continue to do that. You may have seen back in the day, people posting tweets or messages on Facebook that said, this is my Keybase verification, and there's a long string. And the fact that you could post that under your name would then associate it with your Keybase account. We need some way that's easier than that of people saying, yeah, I'm Leo, and these are my sites. And you can trust that. And then we wouldn't have to have Blue Sky's check marks or Xbox's X.com's check marks, right? Do you think we need something like that, or is that you use Keybase?
I think the use of a check mark is just it gives people, casual users of a social network, a easy,
right?
Like easily look. It's something you just look at a glance, and you're like, yeah, this person has some credibility. And I do think that serves a purpose. I think that it has. I'm not sure that check marks are the way to do that anymore. I'm unsure.
Well,
I'm genuinely unsure whether it's useful or not useful because the idea of the check mark has been so diluted over the last couple of years, and the fact that on Meta products, but also on X, you can just pay for it.
Ruined it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we knew
there was a time where it meant something.
Yeah. Well, I think this would be a very good. Blue Sky could even be that validator, right? You see the Bluecheck there, and then in the sidebar, here's all the other sites that belong to me, and Blue Sky has made the effort to validate that that's all real. Mastodon does that with I think, a fairly effective mechanism, but it's not easy to use, and that's the real problem. We need an easier way to do that. The problem also is that people would then say, well, that's kind of a national identity database. Do you really want the government to have something like that? Which I don't, actually. So I've just learned, by the way, I'm sorry, a little distracted, that Henry is going to a chef's dinner with Martha Stewart tonight. I don't know if it's a date. I hope it's not.
Well, you know, the next thing that my wife did after we left Entertainment Weekly, because I walked out in a huff and she kind of had to go too, is she took the Mac network and set it up for Martha Stewart Living.
Nice.
To get them going.
Nice.
Because she got a jar of jam.
It's a good thing. Did she really get a jar of jam?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I hope they paid her as well.
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
I think it might have been strawberry.
It's a good jam flavor.
Did Martha make it?
Oh, I'm sure.
I watch her things and I wonder, did she really get down on her knees in the garden, or did she do that for the camera, then get up and get a guy named Jesus to do it? I feel like it's the latter. I'm just saying, but I don't know.
Probably.
Yeah, she loves to garden. 4chan is dead. Americans, this is depressing. This adds to your Financial Times article. Americans averaged over $700 in TikTok purchases in the last year.
TikTok.
How much did you alone added that up, didn't you?
I think I easily.
How much do you think? Can you show us? Go through TikTok Shop. What have you bought from there? I've never purchased anything on TikTok, so.
I think I got the Plod note there. That was the AI recorder.
I bought Momofuku noodles, which was a mistake.
I bought Momofuku noodles, but see, the problem is I don't know if it was
through TikTok Shop. Jeff?
That's the only thing I bought.
I don't know if it was Instagram or TikTok.
Wow, maybe I'm a boomer. I don't.
You're the boomer.
I'm the boomer now. I'm the one being like, it seems sketchy to order stuff off TikTok. Whenever I accidentally swipe over to that TikTok Shop thing, I like throw my phone away. I'm like, oh, it's just such an aggressive part of the app to be on.
It's way too much. I got rid of my TikTok, by the way. I don't do TikTok anymore either.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh man, curmudgeon.
So I've been watching I thought a very interesting documentary on Netflix called Buy Now, which came out last year, but I didn't see it. It is very depressing. It's people who worked at Amazon in the UX design, people who worked at Adidas, in fact, the chief marketer at Adidas, confessing all the things they did to get you to buy more crap. And really, they're saying it's not your fault that there's something like 18 billion running shoes made every year. It's not your fault that 13 million phones are thrown out every day. 13 million phones are thrown out every day. We have created this monster of e-commerce and made it so easy to buy, but nobody considers what's at the other end of all these purchases. It is a little bit depressing, but it's maybe going to help me kind of cut back on my Oh, wait a minute. My new mixer just came. Hold on. I got to go. I don't know. I shouldn't. $700 in TikTok Shop purchases.
That's crazy.
So how does the
nearly
purchasing
half of
mechanism-
them.
How does that mechanism work? Is your credit card saved with them, or do you have to pull that out every time, or what?
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember how it works. I think they know who you are.
Well, when I start filling one in, Google fills it in for me.
Nearly half of the purchases on TikTok shops are due to influencers. Of course, because that's what you see. You see a video.
That's our new
and
economy.
it's a guy saying, "Hey, I can't believe this thing. I just found it, and it's amazing. It's transformed my life, and I don't know how I live with that. Oh, I did buy gum on TikTok.
What?
That's where I got that gum.
Ooh, here's solar lights for your patio you can put in. That's nice.
That's the most dad thing I've ever seen.
Buying gum?
You're getting a TikTok. No, him buying solar lights for his patio on TikTok.
I'm not buying them. I'm just saying that's
37% of Americans under 60, which means you, Paris, have purchased something on TikTok Shop averaging $59 a purchase. Only 1 in 3 Americans under the age of 60. But those 1 in 3 are working hard. They averaged 12 purchases in the last year. That's amazing.
Yeah, I feel like this is more of a Wales problem than an average American problem.
It's Wales.
Oh, yeah.
The big spenders. Yeah,
it's
the
QVC.
average
It's
Monday.
QVC for the new age.
Right.
Yeah.
Most popular
Monte.
purchases. This is from Partner-Centric Affiliate Marketing Resources. 46% personal accessories, 43% patio solar lights, 40% fashion items.
Patio solar lights, that's old people for sure.
No, that was a joke.
No, well, household items.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
My mom buys those all day.
Yeah. Makeup, cosmetics, 33%, 27% technology. Now, this is interesting. Only less than a quarter found the item by browsing the TikTok shop. Most of the time, I think, they saw a video as they were scrolling through their TikTok and they went, oh, I got to buy that. Why do consumers use TikTok shop? 50% say easy to purchase. 50% say low price. 39% say the item was on sale. They're always on sale, by the way. Nearly 1 in 4 say they make impulse purchases. Top regrets, 17%, the item was cheap quality. Okay, there was this wine cork remover. This guy was he made it look good. He made it look really
How
good.
many wine cork removers do you own, Leo?
A few. Most of them are standard, they're Ossos or the corkscrews, that kind of thing. But this guy, he was Australian. He came up, you can find it on TikTok. And he comes up, he's very suave, comes up to the table, says, let me open that for you. Goes, just like pumping it up. Boop, thing comes out. There you go. And he pours one. It's just that easy. So I bought it. It was the crappiest. I thought I was going to give it to Lisa for Christmas. I thought, that'll be a great Christmas gift. I couldn't. I threw it out.
Have you bought any Bell and Howell laser lights?
Of course, they've licensed the name Bell and Howell because there is no Bell and Howell anymore.
Who's that? What's that?
At least 20. Yes.
It was an old camera brand.
You ever heard of Packard Bell, Paris?
Long defunct, and it's a resurrected brand, and then they put this crap out on TV. It's mainly TV.
23% regret at least one purchase from the TikTok shop.
Wow.
Really, that was bad. That was bad. 63% of Americans take advice or suggestions from influencers.
And there's your problem.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
boy. Only take suggestions or advice from Leo.
Yes, I'm not an influencer. I just play one on TV. Who did I was talking to somebody who said, did you see this study that said something like 57% of teenagers want to be an influencer when they grow up?
I'm shocked that isn't higher.
Well,
maybe it is higher.
There's no other jobs. That's all you got.
No, it's just the new I want to be famous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
But it is universal.
And rich at the same time.
Rich and famous, yeah.
And get a bunch of free stuff.
No, they
Both
assume
my
that
kids-
rich comes with famous. That's the problem. They assume rich comes with famous.
Yeah, you're right.
This is, I don't know if this is valuable. It was research done by the Influence Index. The Influence Index. This is from Australia.
Presented by the Oz?
Oz.
Who is the Oz?
I think it's Australia.
Mysterious.
Yeah, news.com.au. Half of all Australian Gen Z girls would quit school or their job to become an influencer if they could. 73% yeah, who wouldn't?
Would you quit your job if you
I
could
gotta
get a
tell
bunch
you,
of free stuff and get paid for making little short-term videos?
My son, who is absolutely in that category of influencer, right? If he's having dinner with Martha Stewart, I think so. It's killing him. It's hard. Damn work.
Well, I mean, it's hard because you can't really take a break. Like you don't get vacation
People don't
time
understand
or
that.
sick
They think,
days.
oh, it's fun. You're just making little videos. You get to try on clothes. A lot of work.
So
also, there's the parents who are ripping off their influencer kids, which is another problem.
Yeah. Well, it's like child stars in the day.
Yeah.
And there's California's new law, right?
Interesting laws in states, a couple in the Midwest, actually, if I'm recalling correctly, that require that parents don't just spend all of the money their kids earn. That if their kid is being an influencer, they have to have control of at least some of the money.
California, as of January 1st, passed a child influencer law. Content creators who feature minors in at least 30% of their content must deposit 65% of the minor's gross earnings into a trust account. But this was a law, the Jackie Coogan law. Remember, back in the day. Remember Jackie Coogan, Jeff? He was a hoot. He was a child star. You might not remember him in Paris because it was in the 30s.
I was about to say, you could be talking about Brontosaurus for all I know.
Here's a picture.
She's calling us dinosaurs. But
Jackie Coogan. But this was in 1962.
Pretty old child.
Yeah, no. He was married to Betty Grable.
No,
believe
I
it or
didn't know
not.
that.
You know who Betty Grable is? No.
Of course she doesn't.
He was in the Charlie Chaplin movie, The Kid, which was made him one of the first child stars in history.
Every once in a while, when you guys say one of these names, I'm like, they're talking about some Charlie Chaplin-ass guy. And this time it is actually true.
Is. Look at him. Look at him. Isn't he Dorbs? Look at him. Who wouldn't fall in love with that Punim? But
trouble.
But that's in 1921. He got ripped off by his folks. California enacted the first legal protection for the earnings of child performers, widely known as the Coogan Act. California's Child Actors Bill. It'd be fun to drop that in. I know you know Jackie Coogan. You know why? He was Uncle Fester in the Addams Family.
Which one was that again?
The old
Addams Family. It's
I mean, yeah, they kind of blend together to me. I mean, I don't.
I'm pretty sure Paris's reference to that, though, is the modern Addams Family.
I know.
Yeah,
no, I've watched the old Addams Family.
Well, there
I
you go.
Don't really recall
Uncle
much of
Fester.
what happened.
Like
Uncle
to me,
Fester is a guy like he was in a monk's outfit.
To me,
He's
it's
bald.
Christopher Lloyd as Uncle Fester.
Oh, yeah, that's not the same. Coogan, as a kid, earned $3 million, which is equivalent to $68 million today. When he turned 21, his fortune believed to be well intact, but his assets were conservatively managed by his father, who died in a car accident 5 months earlier. He soon discovered nearly the entire amount had been squandered by his mother and stepfather, Arthur Bernstein, on fur coats, diamonds, other jewelry, and expensive cars.
Mom
said no promises were ever made to give Jackie anything. He was a bad boy. Seriously, she said that.
Whoa.
He sued them, but after legal expenses, he got just $126,000. When he went broke during the litigation, he asked Charlie Chaplin for assistance. Charlie gave him $1,000 in cash without hesitation.
I'm going to be honest. Uncle Fester looks exactly like Mark Andreessen.
He does. Actually, Mark Andreessen is more of a bullet head even. But,
I mean, but...
Yes. Anyway,
Same
California
difference.
does have a successor to the Coogan Law, the Coogan Act, which is for child influencers, which it should.
Yeah.
It should. Washington Post has given all of its content to OpenAI. I thought it had done that a while ago.
This is a whole new deal where they're going to get promoted there. I don't know who paid what for how on this.
The Post's essential journalism is now featured in ChatGPT search responses. By the way, it is the Washington Post that called its journalism essential. This is in the article from the Washington Post, to which I no longer subscribe.
Yeah.
Note the big resubscribe button on the top of my page. Washington
Have you
Post
seen the Sync twins?
No. Who are they when they're at home?
I hope we get line 117. I don't know, can we play this or not?
I'll be the judge of that. I have a strong instinct for content ID.
Yes.
Yes.
We never play something and then Benito jumps in and it's like, stop.
Okay. You're the leaker, it's called.
Oh, yeah, no, it's Kimmel. No,
Can't play it. Nope. It's Jimmy Kimmel. He's notoriously litigious.
So there's these twins. I would say two twins. There's these twins who, and they just say, they talk simultaneously. Maybe you can find a news clip. Can you find a news clip with that?
So Pete Hegseth slams leakers after text fallout? Oh no, that was a separate story.
Yeah.
So these two, they're adults.
Yes.
And they just say the same thing all the same time.
And it's not an act. It's them. There was a
and you complain about AI filling the internet with slop?
I know, but this is amazing. It is absolutely amazing. I watched it before Kimmel, and I said, "Oh my God, what's happening here?" And that was Kimmel's reaction as well. If you search on what are they called? The Pelican twins. Search on. They're known in Australia. They rescue pelicans.
Oh.
Okay.
All right.
Daily Mail. Can you play Daily Mail?
I could probably play the Daily Mail. Let's see.
So just search Pelican Twins.
Here they are.
Well, it just happens, and we don't know why, but we have tried to talk separately.
Oh, this is
ourselves. It's not us, and it's very hard.
They're not. They're barely speaking in
I could do that, Paris. Go ahead. Let's you and me do that. Paris and I can talk, say the same thing at the same time, especially if we pause carefully, and we've kind of learned how we talk at the same. Can we get on Kimmel with this, do you think?
I think we could. I think if we practice. Okay, you know what? Could get on Kimmel.
That's so phony. I can't believe how phony that is, Jeff. And you thought that was cool?
I'm telling you.
And he was coming back down towards it.
There you go.
And he goes, run. He's got a gun. All I was thinking about when we were...
No, it's so obvious. They're taking cues from each other, Jeff.
But that's what they do is they live.
Yeah, because they got nothing else.
Wait,
pelicans.
guys.
They got pelicans. What?
I have to interrupt this. Darren Oakley in our Discord made Flappy Jeff.
Yay! I figured.
Darren is very accomplished, I must say.
Flappy-jeff.reply.app.
I'm telling you.
No, it's in.
I gotta play it.
You can actually play it in there. Wait, no. You're watching a video, Leo. I believe. You need to click on the actual link.
How does the computer work? Wow, Darren did that. He's very adept with this stuff.
Darren,
where's the game, Darren? Is there a way I can play it?
It's in the link if you look up in the Discord.
Wow.
I'm not good at it.
There's a download. Yeah.
No, that's the video. You got to keep going up.
No.
It's further up.
Hold on.
Oh, it's up above. Okay.
Here, I'll tag you. I just tagged you. Click the link that I just did, Grandpa.
What? What did you do? What?
What's this
Flappy
link?
Jeff. Okay. Navigate through stacks of books.
I right click?
Now, how did you do this, Darren? Did you do it in Python? What did you? Whoops. Game over, man. Game over.
See, that's what was happening to my Flappy Jeff. But you've got to...
Whoa, it's hard. But this was always hard. Did you play the original?
Yeah, I did.
It
was not easy. He said pure vibe coding. No, actual coding. Oh, I really like this. This is fun. I really like the way you did
got Jeff's head and everything.
Yeah. That's great. You'll forever be remembered, Jeff.
Yeah, I'm very proud. I'm very proud.
So 3. Hard. All right, I want to see who can get the highest score in Flappy Jeff by next week. Post it in the Discord or add us on.
Darren, I got to know more. So you did it. What did you do? Tell us all the details. He says there was no actual coding. It was vibe coding. So it was just a prompt. Did the prompt? Who was the prompt platform? To? Was it a Claude or Darren uses local LLMs as well? He used Replit to do it. Made the image in ChatGPT, so even the images were generated.
Oh.
Wow. Out of Sync got 72 seconds, a high score of 13 points. Nice job, Out of Sync. And Replit hosts it as well. Yeah, Replit used to be the place you would go to learn how to code. It was REPLs for all the different code languages, but they saw the light early on and said, we should just make this a place you can do AI coding. And so, in fact, the CEO of Replit has very famously said, don't study coding. There's not going to be any more jobs in coding, which is a shame because Replit was a great place to learn how to code. I had a high school mentee I set up at Replit to learn Python at the time, but because you didn't have to set it up on your own computer, you could do it in the web and so forth. Let's see.
I'm on a good run right now. I'm on 16. I'm going.
Completely. Well, let's take a break. While Paris masters Flappy Jeff.
19. I'm at 19.
That's pretty good. You're beating out of sync.
I know.
High score.
Let's take a word from our sponsor. More to come.
Our sponsor,
Jeff.
Flappy Jeff.
Brought to you by Flappy Jeff. No, it's actually brought to you by a perfectly appropriate sponsor for this particular segment, our friends at OutSystems. What is that? It is the leading AI-powered application and agent development platform. Now, they've been doing this for a long time, for more than 20 years. The mission of OutSystems is to give every company the power to innovate through software. You know, it's always that build or buy decision. In fact, this is where we made a mistake. I was talking about that sales system that we had an intern write. We probably shouldn't have built it ourselves. It's kind of janky. But on the other hand, we didn't want to buy it. They're very expensive, and they wouldn't do exactly what they want. Usually, in the past, that was your choice. Buy off-the-shelf SaaS products. You know, you'll get them up and running, but you lose flexibility and differentiation, and frankly, they cost a bundle. Or build custom software, but that's going to cost even more in time and resources. But AI has changed everything, and thanks to OutSystems, there's a third way. The fusion of AI, low-code, and DevSecOps automation into one development platform. And as I said, they've been doing this for 20 years, you know, for a long time with low code or no code. But now with the addition of AI, you've really got something. Your teams are going to build custom applications just as easily as Darren just built that Flappy Jeff with AI agents. It's as easy as buying generic off-the-shelf sameware, but it's flexible. By the way, and OutSystems is really good about this. Security and scalability are built in. Because they know you're building enterprise apps here. With AI-powered low-code, teams can build custom, future-proof applications at the speed of buying. With fully automated architecture, you get security built in, you get integrations, data flows, permissions, the whole stack. It's all there for you. Frankly, OutSystems is the last platform you need to buy because you can use it to build anything and customize and extend your core systems. Frankly, we should have gone with OutSystems. You build your future with OutSystems. Right now, visit outsystems.com/twit to learn more. That's outsystems.com/twit. Build custom apps and agents faster. This is brilliant. Finally, a third answer to that build or buy question. Outsystems.com/twit. We thank them so much for supporting intelligent machines. It's an exciting time. I think we're living in an exciting time. How's your Flappy Jeff?
I've really devolved. I had like 3 different runs where I got 0 points.
Yeah. Flappy Bird was always really hard, but remember the guy made a...
It depends on how the level ends up being generated, because sometimes it's very hard and sometimes it's
it's a randomly generated...
I'm having a senior moment. What was what Angry Birds, right?
Yeah. This is not
Flappy Bird.
No, Flappy Bird was created by a Vietnamese kid some years ago, and it was a massive hit on iOS. So much so, and he made so much, and he didn't charge for it. It was free, but he had ads in it. He was making so much money, he freaked out, and he pulled it. Like weeks in, he said, I can't take it.
I'm a communist. I can't do this.
It bugged him that people were so addicted to it. It's really great. It's actually a really great story. And now, of course, AI can easily build it because it didn't take long before a lot of people created Flappy Bird clones and so forth. Once he pulled it off the market, there was, people were free to do that. There's a good article from Wired, The Rise and Fall, get it? Of Flappy Bird.
And rise again.
Yeah, and rise again. Dong Nguyen uploaded a game in May. This was back in 2014. Uploaded a new game to the iOS App Store. One of hundreds new apps added to this App Store every day. Nguyen had created a simple game in which the player controls a funny-looking bird by tapping the screen. It needed a simple name. He called it Flap Flap. Then he realized another app had the name, so It's so easy to rename it. He did it on the App Store and called it Flappy Bird. Perhaps you've heard of it. Wynn's game. Millions of people were downloading Flappy Bird at its peak. Wynn was taking in $50,000 a day from the ads. But he was also under, and this is, I think, maybe what really happened, a constant barrage, according to Wired, of messages, insults, requests for interviews, even death threats. Wynn decided last weekend, after just a few weeks, it wasn't for him. He stopped talking to anybody, pulled Flappy Bird from the App Store, and that was that.
Wonder where he is today.
That's a great question. That's a really interesting question.
Last we heard from him, he was railing against the crypto company that bought that Flappy Bird IP or something, right?
Yeah.
Poor kid.
The current
he was
reigning
a teenager.
champ of Flappy Jeff is P. Hall on Discord.
Of course,
33
Paul.
points.
I'm not surprised. Paul Holder, he's a genius. He's amazing.
How far?
33 points.
Paul, get a life.
We have really recreated Flappy Bird. There are, of course, many places you can play Flappy Bird online, like flappybird.gg. This is a pretty close clone of the original. Just tap the screen. Oops.
Yeah, but it doesn't have a
Jeff.
a disgruntled professor.
Yeah.
I love that. I think there you go. In a nutshell, that's what's changing in the world. It's not twins pretending to talk.
How long did it take you to make it?
It couldn't have been more than 15 minutes. He came up with it.
That long? Was it that amount of time? Jeez.
I don't know. Darren's very good at this. By the way, Darren does pair coding with AI. He does a lot of vibe coding. That's what he does. He's been selling that. You know, he's one of the guys who does the advent of code with us. He's a really proficient coder. He and Paul Holder, are our two top coders in the club.
Wow.
But Darren has gone all in on AI. He does it professionally. He does it for work. Where do you work, Darren? Can you say? Is that a secret? He's mentioned it before. He does a very complicated kind of coding, as I remember.
No, I had assumed it was, kind of Flappy Bird or bust, but
I don't think he writes games. He
wow,
says,
a man of leisure.
He's out of work. Well, I think he works contract. He's, by the way, I'm pretty convinced one of those 10x coders that they talk about. You know, these guys who are so good, they bring him in to solve intractable problems and get paid a lot of money. I'm pretty sure you're a 10x coder, Darren. Pretty sure. He's down under. He's from Australia.
Oh, what time is it down there?
Oh, it's a normal time. I know that because Windows Weekly was hosted by Richard Campbell in Sydney.
Wow.
And he joined us at 4 a.m., which is 11 a.m. our time. So it's a normal midday by now.
It's 9:50 a.m.
Yeah.
I did twig from Sydney once.
Yes, I remember.
I had to, the Wi-Fi, the internet was horrible. I had to buy a new phone to try to do it. I walked along the waterfront. I tortured you as usual.
You did the show while walking along the waterfront with
because
a new
the hotel
phone?
Wi-Fi was terrible and the cell connection was bad. I bought a separate cell thing.
And he's...
I was going to say, famously, isn't recording audio near bodies of water like the worst place to record it?
Pretty much. Yeah. Hey, good news. According to the BBC, films that are made with AI can win Oscars. It's official now.
Boo.
The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences issued new rules on Monday, which said the use of AI and other digital tools would, quote, neither help nor harm the chances of achieving a nomination. They can't speak for the voters, though. Remember, Adrian Brody's fantastic film, The Brutalist, I think, lost the Best Picture Oscar because it came out that they had used AI to help them with the Hungarian accents. I mean, the most minor use of AI you can imagine. But see, the industry doesn't like it. They're terrified.
I thought it was a weird movie.
Oh, I loved it. Did you not like it?
No, I watched it on the plane.
Did you think Honora was the best picture of the year?
I didn't watch that either. I don't watch movies anymore.
Not terrible. It was a fine movie, but not the best picture of the year. It wasn't terrible. It was all right. All right, I think we should break, and when we come back, guess who has a pick of the week for us? Y'all do. Picks of the week coming up with Paris Martineau, Jeff Jarvis. I'm going to take a little moment, just a quick moment to say I would love you to join Club Twit. I didn't realize this. We just crossed 4 years. Patrick Delahanty told me the anniversary of Club Twit was, I thought it was much younger than that. 4 years ago, Lisa, my brilliant wife, had the brilliant notion of, the audience is the most important part of this whole enterprise. We should let them join the club and support what we're doing so we are less dependent on advertisers. It was a lucky thing she did. This was during the height of COVID, of course, so advertising was scant, and it's gone up and down. And honestly, I think I don't want to jinx us, but I have a feeling that there is a little bit of economic trouble ahead, and it might, in fact, be a little troubling for us. But that's where you come in. Even today, advertising doesn't pay all of our costs. With the help of our Club Twit members, though, we can do the shows we do and bring in new shows all the time. When you pay $7 a month, that's all, you get ad-free versions of all the shows that we do. You get access to our Club Twit Discord and the events that go on in there. Like, as I mentioned, the AI user group this Friday. We do recordings of shows in there. Photo time with Chris Marquardt is coming up May 2nd. Micah's Crafting Corner, May 16th. And Stacy's Book Club that afternoon. But I have to tell you, we have moved also our keynote coverage into the club. We got tired of the takedown notices from Apple. So we're just going to stream it in the club. If you're a member of the club, you can watch us as we cover the Microsoft Build keynote, the Google I.O. keynote. Jeff, I hope you'll join me for that. Mm-hmm. We're going to do in between a special GizWiz show. Paris, join me too, if you would like. That
I'm
Google
around.
I.O. keynote is, Tuesday, May 20th, 10 a.m. We're going to also cover the Worldwide Developers Conference. In fact, now that we're doing it in the club, Mike and I are going to stick around for the whole day. We'll get not only the Apple keynote in the morning, we'll get the State of the Union keynote in the afternoon. So all of this is, by way of thanking you for supporting us. We want to make your $7 go a long way, and I think that's a pretty good deal. $7 a month, $84 a year, ad-free versions of all our shows, access to our Club Twit Discord where many of the club members hang. It's a great hangout. Special events that go on only in the club. I don't think any podcast network offers more for less. Please join the club. Twit.tv/clubtwit. And thanks in advance. Wow. Out of Sync is now up to 98 on Flappy, Jeff.
Whoa.
98.
98. That's the number to beat, people.
Oh,
and by the way,
Paris's week is going to be lost.
Another benefit of Club Twit, access to great games like Flappy, Jeff.
That's true.
That's true. That's true. Paris, pick of the week.
All right. My pick of the week is something I came across called I'm probably going to mispronounce this, the Welikia project, which aims to illustrate the rich ecological history that underwrites the development of New York City. And how you do this is you enter in an address. So for instance, let's do 555. I'm not going to dox myself. I'm just going to choose a random address. 555 Fulton Street in New York, New York. And it takes you there and tells you what it looked like long ago. This used to be an oak tulip tree forest community, home to plants like starved panic grass, prairie fleabane, and whitewood aster, and animals like the meadow vole and broad-winged hawk. This block was the suitable habitat for over 199 species of plants.
And then the asters move in, and that's all was left. Wow. And so you zoom in.
So you find out.
This is what it looked like back in the prehistory. Now, can I say later, like 100 years later, or?
I don't think so.
It's just ancient time. Here's what Grand Central looks like.
If you then go click in over on the left-hand panel, you can figure out what the plants were, animals were. For instance, on that part of Fulton we were just talking about, it was likely used by the Lenape people, in part because the block was 135 feet from the nearest Lenape trail and 1,000 feet from the nearest Lenape campsite.
Here's Yankee Stadium. Wow, the Staten Island
go
Mall.
Around all of it. Yeah,
it's kind of depressing, actually. Battery Park.
They got some parts of New Jersey in there too, Jeff. If you're interested.
More woods. Oh, it was kind of pretty. Yeah, I like watching old movies about New York.
Right? It's
because of this. I mean, in New York, the history of New York is really quite fascinating.
It's just a very interesting tool to look into, like what used to be here. The other thing I wanted to shout out
is before Robert Moses, though, right? I mean,
let me just mention while we're on here, one more second. Russell Shorto's new book. Have I plugged it? It's one.
Yes, you have, because I mentioned that I loved the book he wrote called "The Island at the Center of the World," and now he has an updated
Taking Manhattan. It's wonderful.
Taking Manhattan. I will read it because I loved the Island
What is it
at the
about?
Center of the World.
It's about the Dutch time in New York and how the English took it over without any shots being fired, but how the Dutch culture prevailed in our diverse city.
Oh, actually,
really
there's a larger book
Maybe it's
there
my beach
called The
read
7
next
Nations of
week.
America about all the cultures that actually make up America. There's like technically about 7 cultures that make America.
Native American cultures.
No. I'm
First
talking
Nation.
about post Native American.
Oh, our cultures.
Yeah.
Ah.
So like that. Yeah,
Only
you know,
7?
Yeah. You know how like the Dutch are like in New York, stuff like that. It's like how and in California it's the settlers, you know, and things like that.
I was a while ago after finishing The Power Broker. How are you doing on that, Jeff, by the way?
I'm about 2/3 of the way through.
Very good.
It's riveting. It's riveting.
It is really well written.
Yeah.
You would think a book that long and that detailed, you'd get bored.
And it's fascinating how obviously he knew what he thought of the guy by the end, but you just see
He develops
the animosity to it. Oh,
He develops it so beautiful.
He just becomes in such a. The section about his brother is just heartbreaking.
Yeah, there's a lot of heartbreak in that story. I've been looking for a good history of New York. There is one 2-volume set by Mike Wallace and Edwin Burroughs called Gotham, and I think the follow-up to it. What's the name?
I've heard Gotham is supposed to be pretty good.
Yeah, I kind of want to read it.
I had some friends that did a book club where the theme was obnoxiously long books, and Gotham was in it. And
It's definitely so. It's the history up to 1898, and then the sequel is Greater Gotham, 1898 to 1919.
I do think that's a good naming custom for sequels, is you just add greater to whatever the...
And then the Greater Gotham.
Greatest Gotham.
The greatest, greater, greatest. I like it.
No books can be anything more than a trilogy.
But I thought The Power Broker, the Robert Moses story, is just so gripping and really does cover kind of most of the 19th or the 20th century in New York, because he really was so important from the 20s right up to the 70s. Taking Manhattan, I will read that. Thank you.
My last brief shout out for a pick, because I don't think we can play the song, is 18 years ago today, Tazon Day uploaded Chocolate Rain.
Chocolate Rain! Some say
dry and
others feel the pain. You were like 8 years old when that came out. You remember it?
Yeah, I
could totally play it.
But I remember it. Oh, we can? Okay.
Oh, sure.
Good. I don't know. Oh, I guess we can download the free MP3.
Creative Commons.
Rain.
Some stay dry and others feel the pain. Chocolate rain.
So there are a few reasons this caught on. One, he looks like he's 8. And he has this big voice. The other one is...
He leans away from the mic to take a breath and then calls it out by doing on-screen asterisk. I lean away from the mic to take a breath. And that phrase has been stuck in my head for 18 years.
In chocolate rain. The school books say, chocolate rain. The prisons make you wonder where.
He actually got a lot of mileage on it.
And where is he now?
Day is still kind of around.
The world is dry, chocolate rain. Zoom the camera out and see the light, chocolate rain.
He knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing when he created that classic Chocolate Rain. I love the thumbnail that Know Your Meme uses of him leaning away from the microphone.
I mean, it's true. That's what he does.
I wonder. So let's see what's going on.
What is he up to today?
His real name is Adam Nyerere Bonner, but he called himself Tazon Day. He was a grad student when he recorded it in 2007 from Minneapolis.
What did he study?
That's a good question. Chocolate Rain made it to YouTube's front page. This is early on in YouTube, right? And 4chan showcased Chocolate Rain all over the page. So give 4chan a little credit as well. He started a number of commercials, including one for Comedy Central's Last Laugh and a cherry chocolate rain ad for Dr. Pepper.
Oh, good.
Oh.
In February 2010, he was in a Vizio Super Bowl commercial with Beyonce.
Jeez.
He appeared in Weezer's Pork and Beans music video, performed with Stephen Colbert at an autism charity event in 2010. He has received some work as a voice actor, was hired by NASA to voice part of their presentation celebrating 50 years of NASA history. He was voice acted in Robot Chicken in a Chocolate Rain spoof episode.
Okay, cool.
So there's many parodies, including this one by Chad Vader.
Stays behind his colors, celebrate chocolate rain.
He's short.
The same crime has a higher price to pay. Chocolate rain.
All right.
This is when the internet was not full of crap, right?
Right.
Yeah, this
When it
was
good.
the early YouTube days. 2 years into YouTube.
We didn't know how good we
2007,
had it.
how much work they had to do that. That's a lot of work in 2007.
Yeah, you're right. It wasn't easy. Yeah, you're right. Here's Cherry Chocolate Rain. Oh, I got too many videos going. I got to stop
I was
Chad
about to say,
Vader.
it's crazy.
Chad Vader's still singing. Sorry.
The Z. This is the web, and it's gonna murder your TV.
I don't know what's going on. I
think that's a good way to.
Thank you for
be.
bringing back Tay-Zon Day. Chocolate rain.
Rain.
Some stay dry while others feel the pain. Mr. Jeff Jarvis, a pick for you.
So last 2 weeks ago, as you know, I went to Salem, Oregon to testify against Senate Bill 686, which I think is crap because it just tries to hold up technology companies for newspaper companies for lobbyists.
I saw this.
submitted my testimony in writing, and I got to say somebody else did a better job than me. Mr. Morris. Dear committee members.
Was this a comment that somebody posted?
Yes, it's actually posted to the comments on the legislation.
From Samuel Morse on behalf of the Telegraph Operators of America. Dear committee members, as inventor of the telegraph, I am in strong support of SB 686. Many, many years ago, my invention became obsolete when new and more efficient means of communication were developed. Suddenly, all my hard work was for nothing. People no longer had to slowly tap out messages and dashes and dots and then hand deliver those messages to people miles away on horseback. Frankly, I lost my shirt. If the opportunity had arisen for me to get a bundle of cash from those creeps who invented the telephone and the fax machine and email, don't even get me started, I would have grabbed it in a second. Be sure to get a pile of money from those pesky internet jerks to prop up the local newspapers. And while you're at it, consider taxing offset presses. Those things near really screwed over Gutenberg.
I just love this.
Oh, wow. A
I
man
just
after your
love
own
this.
heart.
Yes.
Isn't that a great comment?
Some thought it was me, but it wasn't. I wish it were.
It's brilliant. It's
still
almost
think
as good as Larry David's send-up of Bill Maher.
Oh, my God.
Which I
But
thought
then
was...
did you see what the cock the New York Times then did?
No.
The deputy opinion editor then has to write a separate column explaining the joke, number one, which you'd never do, and number two, saying, oh, he wasn't comparing Trump to Hitler.
That's not...
Yeah, he was.
It wasn't the point. It was, God, I don't watch Bill Maher. My wife loves Bill Maher. So I heard it in the background.
Oh, no.
Him saying, there's too much hate in the world, so I went and had dinner with Donald Trump and Kid Rock at the White House, and he was a very courteous fellow. And so Larry David did a brilliant job, I think, of puncturing that.
The best piece, many people have admired it, is the tan suit. Hitler came in wearing his tan suit.
It's actually good on you, Larry. Was it in the New York Times?
Yes, the New York Times.
Okay.
Yes, yeah,
amazing.
Yeah,
it's a shame they felt like they had to explain what it all.
Oh, it's just so pedantic, and we don't normally do satire. And if the satire is about this and that, we're careful.
Larry, next time go to the New Yorker, please. They'll understand it better there.
Well, he got more attention, I think, from the New York Times, which is good.
Yeah. It was brilliant. And I was just glad to see it because I had the same exact visceral reaction.
I did too. I couldn't watch it. I watched the beginning of that segment and I just said, no, I'm not going to do it. I can't do it.
It's my problem with Bill Maher in general.
But I will be curious this Friday whether Bill Maher responds.
Oh, he will.
He has to. He has to. Oh, he loved it. He loved the attention.
I'm being silent because as someone under the age of 50, I have no opinions on Bill Maher.
Is he really for old folks?
But Paris, he would have opinions about you.
Oh, he does. He has.
I mean, a lot of people have opinions about me. Doesn't mean I have to have opinions about them.
In the words of my calculator.
You can't see it. Oh, don't panic. There we go.
Don't panic.
Let's burn another one, guys. Come on. Bring back the sticker.
Peel it off. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, everybody. Wait a minute. I have pictures of my son going to dinner with Martha Stewart.
Oh.
Well, wait a minute.
Did you ask him about the Tesla?
You should ask him to ask Martha about the Tesla idea. Would she want to take a crack to support?
Apparently, he
podcasting?
said, I decided to wear a cardigan to meet Martha Stewart.
There's no Martha in there, in that photo.
Yeah, where's Martha?
Well, there will be. He's going to the dinner.
Oh, okay.
Cardigan is the right move.
Is it right? It's the right thing to wear a cardigan on the way to Martha.
The mustache is quite dashing.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
He's
the
got, and he's
cute.
stuck with it now. He cannot ever shave it. It's his trademark. He's like Chef Boyardee. He's stuck with it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for putting up with us for the last couple of hours. Thanks to Harper Reed, our special guest.
Harper was delightful. It was great.
Isn't he great?
Yeah.
He's just a character.
So much fun.
He was fantastic.
Great energy.
Some people can't pull off character. They try too hard.
Yeah.
He just is.
Yeah, he's like a nice Shingy. Which no one understands what I just said.
No one gets that one. I got it.
No.
But
Jeff,
just show a picture of Shingy. Come on, you got to show a
Jeff
picture.
Jarvis is professor of journalism. Is Shingy still at AOL? He was at AOL.
Oh, no. He got booted a long time ago.
He was AOL's digital prophet.
Oh, he is reverse Shingy.
Yeah.
Yeah. People couldn't stand Shingy. I met Shingy once. He was very nice.
I'm sure he's nice. It's just doing the hair like that.
It's that embarrassing moment where I have said funny things about him and I didn't know if he knew it. He didn't know it. That's good.
Yeah.
But I was
His
also
real
at an
name
event
is-
at Columbia
Yeah.
on Friday, and the head of the Times editorial page was there, and she was a little frosty.
Oh. She
Wonder
knew
why.
that you thought it was the, what do you call it? The broken time?
Hashtag broken times.
Hashtag broken times. If I could, you know what, Shingy, I'm just jealous. If I could do that with my hair, I would.
Yeah.
You should grow your hair out, Leo.
What is Shingy doing now?
I just got a haircut, and you're telling me to grow it out now?
Just saying, could be.
I don't know.
You
I
could
think
be the
it's now
next
my
Shingy.
trademark, much like Saul Hank's mustache. I think I have to have perfect hair.
Oh, God, you got to
What
go
if you
Shingy.
had perfect hair that was shoulder length? You could do the
I would love
my
to have
dad
long hair. I would love to. Look what happened to your dad. They thought he was a...
Listen, I will say it's changed his whole vibe. People think he's a celebrity now just because has long hair.
It does do something. I mean, Howard Stern is just a schlub without the long hair. But with the long
Yeah,
hair,
the
he looks
hair
like a
is
rock star.
fantastic.
Yeah.
You got to go to Shingy.com.
Oh, he's still around.
Oh, yeah. He's still selling. Got to be selling.
Still selling the Shingy.
Artist, globe-trotting speaker, and market seeker. He is a storyteller who identifies emerging trends and inspires clients to think differently.
Every
Forms.
scroll down made me laugh in a different way.
It's better. Keep going, yeah.
The prayer hands, oof.
What the heck do you do?
He's a renowned speaker.
And if you want to
This is like a
technology,
this is like a satire of a guy.
the brilliant David Shea at the table.
So let's get on with it. We are the connected generation. Consumers are way smarter than we think they are. The secret about...
I wish I had had
really
the
simple.
presence of mind to have a trademark. You know, that's the key.
Yeah.
That's the key. That's why you got to have a mustache. Like
Now
that.
that's an ideas guy.
That's it. That's a guy with ideas. He's got ideas. You can
They're
tell.
flowing out of his head. They can't be contained.
The official title is he is a creative omnivore and visionary futurist.
And he spits up whatever he eats, so you can enjoy the regurgitation of his brilliant.
He's a master baby bird.
Shiggy's boundless creativity and design mastery establish him as a preeminent authority in crafting iconic identities. His razor-sharp instinct, visual artistry, and verbal eloquence make him an indispensable
Hey, it
advisor.
works for him. I'm not gonna
Orchestrating.
judge.
Anyway.
I'm not going to judge.
I'm sure a lot of this is true, but if anybody, if I ever had a website describing my own verbal elegance as using the words verbal elegance, I would hope that someone puts me out to pasture.
But this is why we need to promote ourselves more.
Yeah,
we need to be more out there.
Shingy's got it. What are we doing?
Yeah, we're just sitting here doing podcasts.
He's clearly got it, and we don't.
Yeah, we're in our houses doing
My
shows.
hair is flat.
Yeah. Who are we to knock it? Jeff Jarvis, I'll tell you who he is. Professor Emeritus of Journalistic Innovation at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism.
Don't rush it.
At the City University of New York. I try to rush it every single time. He is now at Montclair State University in New Jersey and also at SUNY Stony Brook in New York State. Author of The Web We Weave, The Gutenberg Parenthesis, now in paperback, magazine, and more. And he is a beloved figure on the international stage. JeffJarvis.com. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Paris Martineau has a shorter
creative
CV.
Omnivore.
She is creative omnivore, ready to suck up all the information you've got. If you've got a tip, email. You said tips at paris.nyc. Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's true.
Did you just spit at us? You just
I
spit at us.
sucked up.
You were sucking
all
it up.
of the
Okay.
Information.
Okay.
That's me.
Yes.
Taking it all in.
On the signal, Martineau.01. Give her some good tips. You know what? This is the thing right now. This is your opportunity to write the book that blows the lid off X, whatever that X might be.
Not X.com.
Not that X. No.
A different
Just
X.
The N. I'll say N. The thing, whatever the thing is.
The blank.
The blank. Fill in the blank.
We'll figure it out.
Thank you, Paris. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you to our very long-suffering audience.
And crew.
And crew. We're glad you made it to the end. They had to, you didn't. So pat yourself on the back. We do This Week in Intelligent Machines. No, we decided not to call it that because it would be TWIM. It's not a good name. TWIM. We do TWIM.
We love to go twimming every week with you.
We're going twimming. No, it's just Intelligent Machines. We just truncate it, make it easy. It's IM.
It's wacky week.
We're a little punchy today.
It's no water today.
It's punchy.
We do it every Wednesday right after Windows Weekly, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2100 UTC. We always kick it off with a great guest and then stories about IM, Intelligent Machines. And I hope you will come back and enjoy the fun and festivities next week. You can watch us live if you're in the club on Discord, but everyone else can watch live on YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, X.com, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Kick. After the fact, on-demand versions of the show available at twit.tv/IM. There's a YouTube channel dedicated to Intelligent Machines, and you can also subscribe in your favorite podcast client, get it automatically the minute it's available. If you do that, though, please leave us a 5-star review on there because it helps spread the word about the hottest new show on the internet. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time on Intelligent Machines. Now, peel me off.